साल में 2 बार हम रेजर बेचने आ जाते हैं.
What if the audience that are following are actually audiences that won't pay?
What will work on a billboard will not work on print. What will work on print will not work on social media. What will work on social media is not long format enough for YouTube.
Good content works at any time.
Who can do trust building better than the founder himself coming and saying, I am putting my neck on the line?
So respect wise, like even if you're the best creator, you'll never be a Shark Tank judge.
Gen Z, मैं बात नहीं करने.
Individual trust lead to a service is the quickest part to seeing dollar on day one.
What really differentiates great creators who you have seen work with, you guys yourselves are, that really differentiates the great from the good?
The skills before thrills, bro.
The girls are thinking how I've become fit, the guys are thinking ये तो मैं भी कर सकता हूँ.
Just press publish.
And we're going to say India का smartest creator कौन? Can you make something that monetizes your business through this?
Wait till we find out who's number one.
Why 4 of you are with me today, right? I think
Because we replied.
no. Very well curated. Very well curated. See, the BarberShop started as a place where Bombay Shaving Company could talk about, because our customers are not talking about us, because customers do things on their own, and it's not unlike your brands or your, all your pursuits. We are not a social pursuit, so we had to find content as a hook for our brand to grow. And when we did RAZORPRENEUR last year, we decided every year we'll take one skill that is core to entrepreneurship and showcase it to the world, especially our audiences who are aspiring entrepreneurs, younger. Our audiences are in the 18 to 24 age group who are looking at a BarberShop episode to say कि यार मैं इसमें से inspiration लेके मैं भी I'll start my own thing.
Yeah.
And we realized that last year sales did very well. It was a very core skill. What is the one skill that we now want to talk about? And for us, we realized that creating content, and you were talking about it in the room also, right? Creating content is now becoming central to entrepreneurship. So anyone who's building a brand, anyone who's building a company in the consumer space, it could be B2B, B2C, whatever, they're now thinking about content as a superpower, building content engines within their companies. And by the way, there is this very big movement of people making content a profession, either by being entrepreneurs in the space, building agencies, or being creators themselves. This group, the latter group, struggles with monetization. The former group struggles with creativity that leads to monetization, right? And now the platforms for content are so evolved, sophisticated, and changing that it's very difficult to hold on to it, right? At an intellectual level. So we thought that RAZORPRENEUR 2.0 could actually be a place where we start getting the thought process going on what it means to build a content engine, and if you have built a content engine, what it means to monetize it beautifully. And these two are very interrelated, but we wanted to actually unlayer this through the 4 of your collective experience. We have someone who's built out content, but in such a pure and authentic way that monetizing it becomes like
So
a
I'll
very
be
thin
learning
balance.
from you guys, I guess.
Thin
Yeah,
balance.
contributing.
We have, I think, in my view, one of the best content-driven brands that has come out. Tanmay, of course, you've been. I think very few people realize how long you have been doing content. And
बुड्ढा
how,
बना दिया तुमने.
नहीं, I remember
Very few people realize what an old fuck you are.
people. Yeah, I saw you in 2009, by the way.
2009?
2009, you were doing a comedy
Open mic.
open mic
Open mic,
in Parel, and then you were already started thinking about this.
2009?
2011.
2009 तो नहीं था, नहीं
2011.
2011 when I started,
11, 12, yeah, 11, 12.
Yeah.
And Sahiba, you were also like from education to marketing to now all the things that you are also doing. So I think all of you come with very unique points and would love to actually start this conversation off on the premise that entrepreneurs like Nikhil, for example, who's built out WTF, it's amazing. It's taking on a life of its own. To Dipinder, who's doing work in the content space. Everyone's doing this like with a very different focus on it. So how do you guys see that happening? And you obviously work with a lot, you're doing it yourself, but would love to start with that. How is it becoming a superpower for entrepreneurs?
आप बताओ.
How has it worked for you?
How it work for you? मतलब वो तो रेजर ज़्यादा बिक रहे वो तो आपने बता ही दिया.
यार हमारे केस में क्या है? I think for us the consumer has always been a young entrepreneurial Indian. That is how we kind of collectivize our consumer group. Young entrepreneurial Indian. And we realized that if we are able to make content which appeals to young entrepreneurial Indians, we will find ways to make our brand fit into it. We actually did not, a lot of our content that was brand first did not work too well. The moment we started making content that was not brand first but brand second or brand third, we realized we could fit well. So we had to find ways to either make it young or entrepreneurial or Indian in nature, right? And entrepreneurial is where the BarberShop fit beautifully. And that's how we started getting people in, and we could kind of feed products into it. And it's actually worked out very, very well for us.
I'll tell you what I feel in terms of evolution of marketing. In the 90s or early 2000s, when we think about advertising, we think about these amazing ads that were funny or used to make you think, had great jingles. You used to go back home and everyone knows those ads, whether it's Nirma or it's Pedialyte, Fevikwik. You remember those, if you're Happy Dent, etc. What happened in marketing is it just boomed, it evolved, and everyone started focusing a lot on performance. परफॉर्मेंस में 6 सेकंड के एड्स बनते हैं, 30 सेकंड्स के एड बनते हैं, एवरीवनस बिडिंग एक्सेट्रा, तो वो स्टोरी टेलिंग गायब हो गया. एंड दैट्स वेयर आई थिंक कंटेंट प्लेज अ ह्यूज रोल, बिकॉज that's what was missing, but people enjoyed it most. That's where your consumers could relate to you as a brand. It personified a brand, it made it more real, and that's where I feel content plays an important part. The storytelling, the human aspect of it, that makes you more realistic and approachable and acceptable, not just performances.
But how did it start helping like commercial enterprises? How is it done for?
I think there's a big media reach shift. See, most brands which start today are trying to be better than brands of the past, either in quality or in the ingredients or in in any form of quality. Chances are you will be a premium brand. Like 90% of the startup brands you will see will be at 2x plus to their average big company competitor in most cases. That means that most of us are selling to the top 10 to 15 million households in India who can afford anything premium. And you see anything, Cred, Airtel का broadband subscriber list, Swiggy one वाले users, everyone is in this 50 lakh to 1 crore bracket के बीच में. Netflix के कितने subscriber है, तो यही 1 से 1.5 करोड़ अमीर लोगों को पूरे देश के, everyone is selling everything. The one common thing about these 1.5 crore people is they are all ad blocked, right? Hotstar is premium, YouTube is premium, TV में देखता नहीं हूँ, सिनेमा पे आजकल कुछ आता नहीं है, मैं मूवी हॉल में जाता नहीं हूँ, थोड़ा बहुत बिलबोर्ड देखता हूँ ऑन द रोड. सो हाउ डू यू रीच मी? देयर इज नो वे टू रीच मी. सो टीवी डज नॉट रीच मी, राइट? द आंसर इज यू डोंट रीच मी. I come to you if I think you are saying something useful or entertaining, ideally both. Yeah. Answer is content. The only way to get to me is if I want to come to you, because also, like we were discussing, this set of people is, they're great sales pitch and bullshit detectors, right? Like you can tell कि आदमी बेचने वाला है from a mile away and be like, तू ad कर रहा है भाई, तू छोड़ दे.
Evolved consumer.
हाँ, तो बिना content के, if you don't have a direct pipe to your consumer, which doesn't run through any middleman, because as it is middleman को मैंने काट ही दिया है.
Correct.
Then
when we're saying content, are we essentially meaning social media content, or are we broad?
There are many different ways. There are many different ways. Like I think events are coming back in a big way. Doing offline stuff is a big one. Consumers are looking, like the rich of the country are looking, and I'm calling them rich, but what I'm saying is 10 lakh plus per annum
household income
earner is rich in this country, because they're the top 1.5% or 1% of this country. You're looking for offline experiences, you're looking for real connections, you're looking for community.
You're looking for Coldplay tickets.
Yeah, correct. All of you apparently. And
5 लाख लोग थे यार उसपे.
10 लाख का क्यों था बॉम्बे में at last? 10 lakh in one city. Right?
I've never seen this happen, by the way.
The same question, I think the marathon wala, if you were not allowed to post it, would the same number of people still buy their Coldplay tickets or not?
It is people like around me who I've hung out with them, heard music with them, etc. It's not like, you know, they were big Coldplay fans, but it's just, I don't know, there's just something.
I think the question to ask is the opposite. The insight here is, if you make something which is shareable, this is the madness people will go to.
Also, when
right?
when you
and
create
this is the amount of
FOMO.
disposable income out there. वो एक टिकट 10-10 हज़ार रुपए की एक टिकट है और 10 लाख लोग क्यू में लगे हुए हैं.
अच्छा, one question.
गाने भी अच्छे हैं यार. गाने भी बढ़िया है यार.
अच्छा, one question, sorry. Why is, when they know when they are launching the tickets, that it is going to get sold out in 5 seconds or 3, 4, 5 seconds. So why don't they just increase the prices 4, 5x? And like, you know, so many concepts, Diljit or this, they know कि sell out होने वाला है in 2, 3 seconds, and if they were 2x the price, तभी भी sell out होता.
Because they get the elitism pushback that now only the super rich can afford it. If you get
Is that the only reason?
50,000
No,
ka
also
is my
it will
guess.
be segregated. Your first layer will be at a base price. Your second opening will be at a higher price. Your third opening will be a higher price. So it gets compounded. They will sell it at a very big premium. So I think if they have tickets, the next launch that will happen will be a very expensive.
तो हर बार पता नहीं होता यार कि कितने में बिकेगा.
Okay. नहीं, but दिलजीत का भी तो इससे भी महंगी टिकट्स थी और
I was blown away by it. But to your earlier point, which is 1.5 crore people who are ad blocked, who now have the choice, does that make us, especially for people who are getting into the content creation game, where engagement and numbers become very valuable? Is it actually then that valuable? Because then what if the audiences that are following are actually audiences that won't pay? Then does it hit your
I
monetizability?
absolutely think so. I think there are two big problems. One is getting irrelevant reach, which is, you know, people who are enjoying your content but who will never pay for your services, at least not in the near term, because they just can't afford it.
Fans of palm oil.
Correct. And second is, you know, this duality of if you keep brand first, then they will block you out because they know you're selling, like you learned from your experience. कि अगर brand से lead करोगे तो पता लग जाता है बेचने आया तो then I will. But if the brand is too far back, then मतलब what's the value of that impression, right?
Correct.
Like how do you monetize that impression? So that balance is super hard to, and you know that's why even for creators, and I'd love to, you know, hear from all the great ones here, that the minute you start selling, the minute there is business की fight क्या है, I always have motive, right? So whatever I'm saying is coming from some motive कि ये end में कहीं तो जाके बेचेगा.
Correct.
Right? So
And people expect that also.
people
No, but
expect.
talking about the metrics, and maybe you guys would disagree, but I was sitting with Meta and we were running a campaign. This was 2 years ago, and they were giving me the data and whatever came out of the performance ad. And they were really hell bent on views, and I genuinely feel that views are more superficial metric out there, because in today's day and age, do you remember the last ad you saw on YouTube? I know Tanmay is a huge multitasker, so even if he's on YouTube and his ads are running, for example, he'll be doing 3 other things while that ad is running, and that's already counted as a view.
YouTube Premium.
I said that's what I said. I know he has premium, but that's the thing, that views I feel are extremely.
But what do you think is a better
superficial.
metric then?
CTRs or click-through rates, because then that means a tangible action has happened on your performance ad. That's my POV, because I feel views are not a credible metric.
Yeah, so I have just little more nuance in this. I mean, this is also data has said this, especially if you talk to like a lot of influencer marketing agencies. How the view has come makes a big difference. Okay, like I think YouTube is it's almost appointment based, which is you go and you choose to watch.
Yeah.
Whereas if I am part of the 50 reels that you consume, then the value of the view probably diminishes. Which is why that CTRs just tend to be higher on a YouTube video.
Yeah.
Because you have chosen to go there. So I don't think views are a useless metric. I think it does matter, especially given that the algorithm determines how many views you'll get. So more views equals to more retention is true.
But I'm also talking about performance ads, not content. The views on the content are very different. I'm talking about views on a brand performance ad.
But wouldn't you think that correlation would be very high?
Actually, I would love to know, the lines are blurring very, very fast between the two though.
Oh, between the two? No. So
Between performance and organic.
Performance and content and creative.
No,
So
content.
for us, for example, we don't run performance on stuff that we don't think will work on creative anymore, or very less.
Makes sense. Why are you running shitty performance ad? You should run performance
to
ad on
work.
something that's worth
This
See,
it.
to
this is
work a
not
lot.
an ad. This is not an ad. This is an organic content that
Correct.
you're putting out.
Correct.
An ad will be a 20-second, or 6-second, actually not even 20 seconds, a 6-second snippet of it, which you're boosting and everyone knows it's an ad. That is going to get ignored heavily. That is the view that I'm talking about is superficial. The views you get on this video, organic content, is good metric.
But for
That's
example, last time I had shaved Tanmay's face.
Oh, he
Yeah,
did.
in an organic way.
It still lasted, bro. What magic did you do?
Shave so deep it lasts a year.
But I mean, I'm saying as an example,
Yeah.
that piece of content does beautifully on performance and otherwise. But 5 years
Wait, you had performance on that?
पैसे नहीं मांगे तुमने?
I knew-
साल में क्यों आना पड़ता है?
आपका तो
हम
tofu
क्या
है।
क्लोर करने आए हैं यार यहाँ पे?
आप tofu है।
I thought I was no. But 5 years back, very tacky performance ad would also work.
Yeah.
5 years back.
5 years back.
Yeah.
4-5 years back, I don't know whether you experienced it, but like
And the
very
same-
clear 20%
the-
discount. ये वो फटा.
You know what worked 5 years back is not going to work now at all.
But today we are realizing that if content is not central to performance or organic or whatever,
Yeah.
if the creative element of it is below a certain hygiene level,
Yeah.
people are just fatigued. They will skip over it
100%.
immediately.
100%.
And directionally, as clutter goes up, good content का value and उससे ही performance होती है. Like we make these 4 minute reels, उनके ऊपर भी हम पैसे डाल देते हैं तो उससे business होना शुरू हो जाता है. Because it's so refreshing to see something which is not going to sell to you that you actually watch it.
And business viewer, because they're interacting with the ad, they're clicking buy now or something. That's CTR, no? That's not.
I
But
don't
do you-
think- I don't think people care about being sold to, okay? I
You think
the
so?
I don't think people care about being sold to because they're being sold to
Everywhere.
all the time. Everything is a sell, right? Whether it is the news or whether it's a politician to whether it's even sport, right? Technically, BCCI is selling cricket to me consistently, right? Everything is you're being sold to. There's some financial agenda behind it. Just sell it well. I don't mind. Just have my attention and then just sell it well.
Also, people don't like to be told what to do. So when your
Yeah.
ads are like made in a certain way, you're expecting the guy to go.
Don't be
something
tacky, bro.
Yeah.
Like just don't be tacky. Like dating is also technically
Selling.
sales. Selling for long-term relationships. It's technically that.
Yeah.
Just do it well, bro.
Basically, game इतना elevate हो गया है कि my expectation from any piece of content is just gone up. मतलब any piece of
And that's actually a very good point. I think
Yeah.
the intelligence of the viewer is, and I mean intelligence in a very content first way. Someone watching the Kuch Khas Hai Cadbury ad 25 years back.
But Cadbury मेरे सामने नहीं ले रहे.
The Dairy Milk ad, for me, that was such good advertising.
Yeah.
I don't think that will work today because that was very like,
Exactly.
you know, it was very obviously trying to make you happy
Yeah.
and all of that. I think today it becomes very
And the
difficult to
quality
do.
of that creative benchmark to the average creative of that time was spectacular.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right? Average creative of now is like the
Very
The
bar
same, the
is-
Limca dancing, the little dancing
Yeah,
girl
yeah,
under the
yeah.
waterfall.
Yeah, yeah.
Will it work right now? No, that
Yeah.
time it was a super duper hit.
Yeah.
Right?
It all of this again ties into dopamine thresholds of today.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Say more about that.
So per unit of, I'll call it effort, right? Per unit of content,
Yeah.
as dopamine thresholds go up, okay, per unit effort put in per unit of content on the platform
Yeah.
has to keep going up, right? Like there was a time where reels were shot on phone. Now you have a category called Instagram DOPs for charging 25,000 bucks a day to come and shoot in your house. It's legit,
Yeah.
right? Like fashion influencers and all, they have the Instagram DOP, which is gimbal विम्बल लगाया फोन के ऊपर gimbal लगा के घर के अंदर मिनी स्टूडियो बनता है और ये
एक बात बताओ, do you see a positive like a direct correlation of production value to how well a creative does, or is it an inverse correlation कि actually जितना voyeuristic लगता है जितना
I'll
I
explain.
think इसमें मेरे को बहुत ही like it's a
I'll
very tricky
explain.
thing, yeah.
Okay. Does production value help? Yeah, it does. Okay, so per unit of effort or as saturation increases, effort put into per unit of content or extremism attributed to per unit of content, whether it be ideological extremism, okay, or any other kind, okay,
Like shock value, basically.
keeps going up.
Yeah.
This goes across. This
a
works
very
on
good point.
Instagram. It works on dating as well, right?
How on dating?
Because dopamine threshold is so high, you're just left, right, swiping on so many people. You have to stand out.
Yeah.
You have
You
to
shock
do
me.
more. You just have to do more.
Like adding-
guy who makes a PPT of why you should swipe right on me as his profile is gonna get more matches,
Yeah.
right?
But effort is higher.
Effort is higher. This all is tied into dopamine thresholds because everyone's dopamine threshold is so much higher. It's just simple.
I also think there is an income part of it, like, you know, the little ad you were talking about from 30 years ago. they were trying to kind of appeal to 100 crore people or whatever the population was that back then, like the entire population. But now, like the ads, like the whole truth 4-minute ad you're talking about, you're still talking to the 1 crore person. So the effort and the quality of, we are saying the quality of ads are going up, but it's because the ads we are seeing are only catered to us.
Yeah.
When I
It's
look,
targeted specifically.
when you go to a news channel, like a Hindi news channel, and you see the ad, it's still, the ads are maybe not as sophisticated as maybe what your 4-minute ad was. So,
But actually there's a वही dichotomy है, जितनी मासी ad होती है, actually production value उतनी high होती है.
Is it?
जितना बड़ा star होता है, उतनी बढ़िया location होती है. You will get Deepika Padukone, go to Mauritius, shoot a song, all of that. But to appeal to you and me, I will bring you into my home. मैं अपने कैमरा पे कुछ बात करूँगा, vlog बनाऊँगा, कुछ करूँगा, and that will appeal to you. That's why I was asking कि production value और इसका correlation आपने क्या देखा है?
No, something prettier. But yeah, it's never just production value will not save you.
There is an interesting thing there.
It's
right?
never-
Like,
it's
because,
never just
because voyeurism sells, and voyeurism happens when you remove. There's Finsta for a reason. There's Be Real for a reason because people are like, yeah, show me the real side. Don't show me
Production value is not how much money you spend.
the. Of course,
Okay.
I'm using it as a loose term, but
finish होता है एक product में, right? Like if I just use nice music, उसके लिए आपके you need to have
I
aesthetic
agree.
taste.
But I think correlation doesn't factor for causation part of it. Like I don't think it's a blanket thing that the production value can figure के niche target audience है या massy है. But that point is right. The massier the ad, the more basic the ad. Like you're not trying to be too meta with the
I'll tell you where I'm
storyline.
coming
You're
from.
too meta with the
when I meet
concept.
most, early startup founders who are trying to figure out content, their first question is, आपका setup कैसा है? आपका स्टूडियो कितना कैमरा, कौन से कैमरा, कितने लोग, कितने डीओपी, कितने कॉपीराइटर, कितनी बड़ी टीम है, कितना पैसा लगता है, all of that. And I realized that from the outside, it's assumed that 90% of the solve is
Infra.
infra and wo. When from the inside, I'm sure all of you would agree that 90% of solve is the scripting, the writing, the thought, कि क्या बोलने वाले हो, etc. And 10% is the
Actually,
riffraff.
90% is just outputting. Just output 50 things and then you'll eventually.
Is
Quantity
it?
leads to quality.
It's quantity, is it? Like for example, when we spoke last time, even now, like Revant said that if I'm putting 6 hours of effort in an episode or in a video, 3 hours goes in the first line and making sure the first
for
line
shorts,
is right.
for like a reel. I don't do
found
long
an
form.
insane amount of depth on content. Like everyone wants to like create content. My view is that even on entrepreneurial side, a lot of people want to do it, and a lot of people will invest in infra. You're right. People will say, "Yeah, infra is the investment to make, and we'll hire a team and we'll get amazing people to mentor us, etc." But if the meat is not there in the core, then no amount of production value will actually work.
Yeah.
मेरा simple framework is content is what and how. We focus too much on the how.
How, yeah.
कि कैसे करेंगे, ड्रोन उड़ाएंगे, ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे. The what
What is way more important.
What is very important. And I also think when is very important because we are evolving, changing, retention is going here and there. There's so much of stimuli. When you release what really matters.
सुबह 11 बजे शाम के 7 बजे. Highest peak hours on all social media.
Actually say that.
Yeah, actually,
I've
I'm
actually
curious.
found
Whenever
ulta.
my content is ready, I upload
No,
it.
I
Yeah,
feel
same.
context is very important.
Context, okay.
So
not
when
posting time.
No,
think
no. When I'm saying when is what mindset is the society and what is happening around you right now? Who are you targeting? वो क्या कर रहे हैं अभी? Like, that when is very very
But
important.
11 and 7 you've seen consistently across context, across
मैं
categories.
11 7 बजे करता हूँ क्योंकि मेरा डेटा कहता है कि 11 7 बजे I mean it's natural right 11 बजे तक लोग ऑफिस पहुंचते हैं सबसे पहले
वही मैं बोल रही थी, मेरा भी
शाम के 6
insight
बजे
is
खत्म
7
होता
to
है
11.
in this insight of 11 7 is true for everyone good content works at any time
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
good content works at any time
रात को 2 बजे डाल दो.
तुम्हारे पास पुल लेयर कभी चलता है समय रात के 2 बजे इंडिया गॉट लैटिन डालेगा अगले दिन 3 मिलियन हो जाता है
Also,
फर्क नहीं
अगर वो views आ रहे हैं तो फिर वो अच्छा content है तो push हो गई. And that doesn't see at what time does that get pushed.
My best ever video was coincidentally the day it was the Cricket World Cup final, and India won it, and still my video did really well. Like I think even though the entire Instagram was no one was watching like random reels.
नहीं शांतनु जब लोग आके पूछते हैं ना कि कब डालना है तुम बताओ उनको मैं सीधा 11 सब बोलता हूँ क्योंकि उनको लगता है कि दिस इज द सीक्रेट हैक टू एवरीथिंग एक्चुअली व्हाट दे रियली वांट टू हियर इज भाई तू जस्ट प्रेस पब्लिश जस्ट हिट अपलोड तू 5 बार कर तेरे खुद को समझ में आया कि रात के 3 बजे नहीं डालना होता है वीडियो यू विल ओनली नो
How do you measure, like all of you have spoken about content compounding. Like all of you in your own ways have compounded content. And compounding is very difficult to measure in the early periods. By early, I mean like the first, like 3 years, 4 years, it's very hard to measure if anything's ever compounding because baseline effect is so very dominant. How do you measure whether something's working? Are these intense spikes of success? Well, something becomes big and you're like, cool, I have something, I've held on to something, or do you keep doing something over and over again by believing in the process?
I can answer as a brand, not as a content creator, this question, to be honest. As a brand, when you're making content and you're trying to do something that's compounding, I feel social listening is very important.
Okay.
Because it's brand work, so it's not going to give you a tangible metric if you do any kind of brand campaign or content. तो उसमें सिर्फ social listening से आता है. So, for example, if I was working with a company and I was doing a lot of integrations in films, and I locked 60 films, these 60 films are going to get launched over probably the next 5 years because they're being shot right now. उसका कंपाउंडिंग मुझे 5 साल बाद आएगा, पर कैसा आएगा? एक फिल्म देखा तो सोशल लिसनिंग हुई, सेकंड फिल्म देखा तो सोशल लिसनिंग हुई, थर्ड फिल्म में अब लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं. सो I feel as a brand, what people are saying and not the metrics work more.
Said that, content has become very key to entrepreneurship. I think ऐसा कुछ written in stone नहीं है कि जरूरी है करना, ठीक है? Because like content for products that aren't really that great doesn't help. Right?
So?
At this, yeah, of course. तुम्हारे पास basic PMF नहीं है, तुम जितना भी चिल्ला लो.
नहीं, वैसा नहीं. मैं बोल रहा हूँ in general, अगर because marketing is becoming harder, content is becoming more important. That's the thesis.
So it's a paradox, right? Which is that content for products that don't work is pointless. Okay, great products with no customers are also pointless. Okay.
Yeah.
So the holy grail is to do both. The holy grail is that.
Correct.
Okay. We are seeing this play out with the MKBHD thing, right? Which is creator entering the builder space. Okay. And we have now seen over and over again the examples you mentioned, which is builders who have built stuff also entering the content space.
Correct.
Right? You have to there is no definitive कि ये करना जरूरी ही है. It helps if you are a builder who can also do content.
But the content is a catalyst.
I was just about to say that.
It will accelerate a good product, but
Yeah.
of course it has to come at the end of great PMF.
problem
I think it's
solved
gonna
ढंग से.
It's not going to take
उसके बिना
away
तो-
from you, but it's a means to an end.
Lube है lube.
हाँ, it
नहीं, but
is
मेरे
a
को लगता है कि
catalyst.
content is now going to become meat and potatoes of
See,
any
there
marketing
are a
company.
lot of very successful brands that do not do any sort of content, and they are successful in their own way. And
Will
there
they
are
be
a lot
10 years
of,
down the line?
I think so, because their product is hero, and there are a lot of brands whose Instagram and social media is just filled with faltu trending content. But till date, I don't know what the product is.
इसमें ना there's a P&L lens to this कि early days में जब तुम मास मीडिया नहीं कर सकते हो, we say अभी भी TV reaches all of us on IPL, right? आप देखने जाते हो, ठीक है, आप हॉटस्टार पे देख लेते होगे, but वहाँ की advertising is also very very expensive, right? So there's a certain P&L size after which you can brute force your way into my memory.
And that's where I think his unit extremism per content piece actually works out.
हाँ,
Yeah, I
तो
agree.
बट वो P&L साइज मोटा मोटी 400-500 crores ऑफ टॉप लाइन से नीचे आप ब्रॉडकास्ट में एडवर्टाइजिंग अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते हो, क्योंकि 10 से 20 करोड़ का टिकट साइज होता है उसका, राइट? तो गेम इज ये 0 to 500 करोड़ की जर्नी कैसे निकालोगे,
करेक्ट,
राइट? उसमें यू नीड कंटेंट एज अ कैटलिस्ट इफ यू कैन. अदरवाइज देयर आर अदर वेज, ऑफ कोर्स देयर इज अ डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन लेड मेथड कि आप 10 रुपए का चिप्स निकालो, आपके पास कोई पापा का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है बहुत पुराना, आपने उससे निकाल दिया कुछ, राइट? देयर इज सम नेटवर्क इफेक्ट बिजनेस, देयर आर डिफरेंट वेज टू डू इट, बट कंटेंट इज अ हैक इन द
डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सॉल्व करना है.
हाँ, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सॉल्व करनी है
One way of farming,
अर्ली डेज में, बिकॉज मास मीडिया का टिकट साइज बहुत हाई है. एक्चुअली मास मीडिया इज द चीपेस्ट मीडिया पर eyeball. TV is the cheapest, but the ticket size is so high your P&L can't afford it, and many brands have made the mistake कि 100 करोड़ की स्टेज पे फंड करा और 20 करोड़ का कैंपेन चला दिया, उससे कुछ नहीं हुआ because your physical distribution was not up to the mark, and then your company imploded under the weight of that marketing budget because you spent 20 crores at that time, right? So that's why content is needed. To answer your question of पता कैसे लगता है कि content से कुछ हो रहा है, I think उसको भी PMF लेंस से देखना होता है. First get product PMF, and content PMF for me, just like product PMF, का best proof is repeat rates. Even on content, the best proof that I've found is repeat rates.
Repeat rates.
Yeah, and I see it in two ways. A, average view duration, AVDs are very important.
Yeah.
What is the depth to which people are going? How long are they staying with your content? And B, you will find those 1,000 super fans of your content जो हर वीडियो पे आके
Yeah.
कमेंट करते हैं और हर then you know कि कुछ तो PMF तुम hit कर रहे हो. Some niche is loving the way you're doing it, how you're doing it, etc. Hopefully that's a cue to keep doing what you're doing.
I have to agree with him. Like Tanmay also says this, I also say it. I said distribution is key. I think you said distribution is king, no?
Yeah.
I know you said this. So if there's a brand, they need to first figure out कहाँ, ठीक है?
Okay.
क्या तुमने सोच लिया क्या करना है what, but कहाँ becomes very very important. So you have to figure your distribution. Like he said, big tickets, IPL, TV, it's extremely expensive. What does a startup do? How can they afford marketing?
Yeah.
Your distribution will tell you how do you reach your target audience. Now this is also another game. Every distribution channel has a different format of content and
Yeah.
different type of content. What will work on a billboard will not work on print. What will work on print will not work on social media. What will work on social media is not long format enough for YouTube.
Good point, actually.
So then your what, when, why becomes a huge question and a gamble, and you have to sort for all three simultaneously because all of them are different.
You know, the content, I think the platform variances become, you know what is our biggest affiliate marketing channel today? It's Zomato. I could never have imagined.
At the end screen.
Pe,
Partnership
Cred of obviously is like an obvious affiliate non-core for D2C,
Nice.
but Zomato is becoming huge.
Because of your partnership.
Yeah.
How on Zomato? Like,
After the orders play, they can see a.
You do sometimes like GP does the scratch card bit.
I think of shaving when I order butter chicken. It's a natural.
No, but
It's quite interesting.
younger
you know?
consumer trimmer.
Yeah. Also, that's an insight, and that's why GP does the scratch. That whenever you spend money, you want something in return.
Yeah.
That's a human insight. That's where all these
That's so true.
धनिया
धनिया मिर्ची mentality.
Content is धनिया मिर्ची. But
तुमने
that's the
अभी
thing.
पैसे दिए तो कुछ तो दो.
Sukapuri, no?
Sukapuri, correct.
If you were cheated, like without it.
Yeah,
But that's a very
yeah.
important point because if platform variance is so high, then content flexibility also becomes super important.
Exactly.
It's so important. Sorry, go ahead.
Should the content be for a business especially be person led, or is there like
Very good question.
like for example in your company I think it's slightly person led.
Personal as in
You are
from
like sort of
me.
the face of Whole Truth. Or in some other brands, it's not as still the content is good, but it's not as like there's no one person behind it that you see on. So, what's your take on like
I think it differs. I don't think you can have the same strategy. For example, Airtel Girl was the face for the longest time. Nobody knew the senior leadership of Airtel. But startups slowly are getting their founders to be the face of the brand because they're doing two things. They're building themselves as a brand and whilst they're building their brand too. So they think that strategy is working.
See, sometimes brands like Zomato,
Yeah.
okay, will get someone like a Sahiba, okay, to make a ton of content. The problem arises when Sahiba leaves and starts getting way more money elsewhere. Okay? Then the brand gets into trouble.
I love how you written my name in Hindi.
Yeah, I write in Devanagari a lot.
Oh my god.
So that's where the problem arises.
I think it's sorry, you were saying something.
This problem is so very long. This is also like back in the day when BuzzFeed used to do
With those five people.
Yeah, BuzzFeed used to do many properties like Try Guys, etc., wine about it.
Yeah.
They used to have many properties which were employee-led. Like BuzzFeed employees would start making the content. They all started leaving, going finding management in LA. They all started leaving.
even many of our fashion creators today who are big, they were earlier in various companies.
iDiva,
right?
most of the influencers
iDiva,
are part of
Puppets,
iDiva.
whatever.
Yeah. So the problem is this: you have if it is individual-led, the individual better have enough skin in the game for it to be worth it. Otherwise,
it's too risky.
if you're doing medium rent on this thing, then they will eventually, because content means you're going to get, if content works, you will get more popular. There will be more.
Even the
inbound.
Travago dude left and he joined competition.
Was he not the founder?
No, he was not.
He was
really?
That was a rumor.
I
That
thought
was
he
a
was a
rumor.
founder.
He
No,
left and he
no,
joined
no.
competition.
I think this goes beyond just individuals in front of the camera. It goes more for it also applies for people who are in the marketing team.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's a vision and it's a certain chemistry and a DNA of like marketing DNA hona chahiye company ke
agree,
andar, right? Like I think Zomato is a great example. Like Akshar set it up.
Yeah.
He was there for so many years.
Yeah.
He made it
और
into
इतना तगड़ा ब्रांड बनाया कि अब एवरेज क्रिएटर भी बढ़िया लगता है.
And also, in
ब्रांड इतना
Zomato,
बढ़िया है.
वो अभी क्या कर रहा है यार?
he's raising his kids.
Yeah, he's happy.
He's happy.
Wow.
He was
He's-
working in a.
When you say raising, I thought raising money and then like raising kids.
I mean,
He's working in a health tech firm.
if he has chosen to not tell people what he's doing, then maybe we should just leave it at that.
Okay.
Amazing.
So, yeah, I think marketing DNA becomes very important, which in Shashank's case, it's like it's bleeding from the top, right? Like it comes from him. So that becomes very critical.
And in big brands, you can't do that because senior leadership and the board of directors, who's going to be the face?
I have a
For a long time also, I think, sorry.
No, I was just putting another frame to your question. For me it goes back to a lot of founders again ask me कि हमें भी अपनी ad करनी चाहिए, क्या आप करते हो, etc. I think it's what and how. First figure out तुम बोलना क्या चाहते हो, and then find the best how. In my case, because it was trust building, who can do trust building better than the founder himself coming and saying, I am putting my neck on the line, right? But you might be if you're making a fun brand, then maybe founder is not the best guy to do it. Get Ranveer to jump off a bus and fly off a airplane or do some
Yeah,
shit, because
but also
he's
the
right.
personality of
Personality,
the founder.
yeah,
If
yeah.
your personal personality, if your personality is very different from the tonality of your brand and the
Yeah, that's
positioning
true.
of your brand, then you
And
can't
dude, you
be
have
the
to
face.
do it for like hopefully
Many
life.
years, yeah.
Life, because you're the founder.
You can't fake
yeah,
it.
you can't.
Like if I am not who I am in front of the camera, off the camera, inconsistency will show itself in today's day and age in like 2 months. मतलब कहीं ना कहीं भी पता लग जाएगा कैमरा पे तो ये बोलता है, पार्टी में ये बोल रहा
Conversation
था.
authenticity की तरफ जा रही है.
No, but for example, faces being on brands, like from MDH, for example, it's been a part, right?
oh, iconic, yeah, that's iconic.
Nahi?
No, I know. That's the best and the worst parallel that's drawn.
Yeah, or for example, even when you look at your brand endorsement, I think what Federer did for Rolex in a very systematic way was just phenomenal, like bleeding of the personal brand onto the actual.
Just
I
very
love
risky
giving
from
this
both.
example though. Malia, what he did for Kingfisher,
Yeah.
is a prime example of that. He took his personal lifestyle and pushed it completely to build a brand.
Yeah.
It was
And it
brilliant.
imploded.
And it imploded. He said, my life, the way I live my lifestyle, the luxury I do, the fun I do, that will be the brand. And he killed it. He was
That's the
perfectly, yeah.
biggest risk of a personal brand, that you're a single point of failure. So something happens in my life
Yeah.
which makes me infamous, and there is no chance my brand can remain dealing.
But that risk is always there. Whenever you're a face of any brand, that risk will be
So
there.
if a creator hypothetically or a celebrity like a Bollywood or cricketer was starting his or her brand, would you say that you should not start in their own name or
Now
like
the
have,
baseline effect is so high. Like the starting advantage is so high. Like if Sachin was to create his own brand today, it should be known as his brand.
He
because
shouldn't get Rohit Sharma to be the face.
because people will buy it.
That would be so funny.
Actually, that would be really good if you think about it.
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead.
I think when people have expectations, that's an opportunity to beat it. Like this one. I think Sachin getting Rohit Sharma to beat it is
I actually like that idea.
not bad actually. Not bad. Interesting तो है. Both Mumbai lads. कुछ तो निकल सकता है उसमें. I would entertain this idea actually.
This is actually
It's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's very helpful. I think one is brand tonality. So if you think about companies building out content, you're saying that the core of the business might still kind of at scale be kind of brute force media, etc. Do you see that changing though? Like above 500 crores, also people kind of realizing that advertising fatigue is going to start hitting IPL media itself, etc.
Yeah,
also
because,
news media.
like,
वो तो news में भी हो रहा है ना आजकल.
If I hope most marketeers at least have read BarberShop, this book called How Brands Grow. It's seen as the Bible.
I
in
always
the-
recommend that book to everyone.
One.
Volume 1, 2, and 3.
How Brands Grow by BarberShop. He's this Australian prof who's done the most data-led research on how brands grow. And the answer is singular, more and more reach, because brands are leaky buckets. If you're not acquiring at the speed at which you're losing consumers, then you're dead.
Yeah.
Right? And beyond a point, brute force media से जो massive reach at one point of time आ सकती है, at least right now वो content से नहीं आ सकती.
brute force you mean media,
Ad
you mean
चलाओ,
TV?
हाँ मतलब ad चलाओ टीवी पे 10 करोड़ लोग देखेंगे, like वो आप अपने content से
Reach and frequency both. I think it's and.
I think large brands have realized that this is, at least today.
And see, it's not just reach ना Revant, it is consistency into reach. कि मैं
वही,
एक
frequency.
creative बना के उसको multiple times to a large audience, वो crack अभी तक content से नहीं आया.
But TV में is that power still there? For example, like through whatever controversy, I've gone to so many news channels. I feel like I would rather go to a podcast of a creator than a news channel. I feel like way more people watch a podcast.
No, that's the echo chamber we live in.
Or like maybe it's a tier one.
No chance है. वो तो
There's no
TRPs है ना,
chance.
मतलब जो थोड़ी सी fixed होती हैं, but largely TRPs
You will get a
directionally
million
आते
views,
रहते हैं.
right? You will get triple that reach
I agree with
on a
him, actually.
multiple basis on TV. I'm talking about your hotspots. I'm talking about IPL, for example, or cricket.
IPL
where your
and
entire
that's a
nation
slightly
is
different thing.
But also, when we used to do ad campaigns, for example, Anupama is Tarak Mehta. Two shows that have extreme crazy reach and views. When you and the ad time there is very expensive because of the viewership that you're getting. Your reach and frequency game there
Or the
is
Shark
crazy.
Tanks of the world now.
Or the Shark Tank.
No,
These are very iconic, I would say.
English news channel numbers are
Probably very low.
big
Exceptionally
question mark.
bad.
But it's also
They've been lying for the last 5
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
Blindly.
I'm
I also feel like, for example, a lot of them have OTTIs a lot quicker. Like new channel ka fatavat app pay inventory becomes massive. So if you're advertising there and that media bucket is there for you, the ability to do that versus content becomes a lot like just way wider.
But as a premium brand, like suppose you're a relatively premium brand, would you still want to, like, would Anupama or a Tarak Mehta, would you still gain a lot out of that?
It's a P&L answer. Maybe the day I'm 1,000 crores and I need to
correct.
go to 2,000, maybe the answer
Launch
will
on
come.
the
There's no other way
brand
to do
called
it.
but I
Puri
would,
Sachai.
There's
I
no
would
other way you can
also
do
say
it
it's a
also.
game of your segmentation and targeting, because in digital you can really nichely target exactly what consumer you want to reach, right? उस पास ये phone होना चाहिए, ये lifestyle होना चाहिए, ये देखना चाहिए, ये देखना चाहिए. It's completely niche. TV has a lot of spillover. You could have a lot of people who are not part of your target audience watching. So it also depends on who you're targeting and
People
why.
Mac होता है. मम्मी acquisition cost.
जैसे हमने साउथ में सन टीवी में बहुत एड्स रन किए थे, क्योंकि वो एक गोल और विजन था कि हमें साउथ में पेनिट्रेट करना है और थोड़े हाउसवाइफ्स के पेनिट्रेट करना है. फिर तुम कर रहे हो.
Do you think AI is going to help in this? For example, other day while scrolling, someone was telling me that they saw a Mr. Beast ad in Hindi. Mr. Beast content piece in Hindi.
Content.
Like
Yeah.
it was clearly AI driven, and
Yeah.
I think if he's
It
got
saves
into-
a lot of time and effort.
But does it maintain quality? Like while expanding reach 100x?
I mean, you can tell, for example, in ads, Tanmay would know this, you can run AI. So you shoot with an actor, say Shah Rukh Khan. Now Shah Rukh Khan's voice gets dubbed, and on digital you can run with him saying, talking to you. He'll take your name. Hi Shantanu. तुम कैसे
Are you
हो?
serious?
Yeah.
आपने करा था ना, Zomato only did
वो हमने लोकेशंस पे किया था, हमने स्पेसिफिक
वो
पिन कोड्स
gifting
में
में था कुछ तो,
स्पेसिफिक और कैडबरी में किया था.
ऋतिक रोशन वाली कोई ad थी.
करेक्ट, वो ऋतिक रोशन वाली आया थी. कैडबरी ने बहुत ब्रिलियंट शाहरुख खान के साथ किया था. सो इट मिनिमाइजेस द एफर्ट. आल्सो इट्स अ ग्रेट इनोवेशन. इमेजिन एन एक्टर विदाउट हैविंग टू स्पेंड एनी टाइम इज लुकिंग एट यू ऑन एन एड एंड सेइंग योर नेम. You can really customize it. The only thing is, of course, you can always tell it's AI. Like the picture you showed me of
You can't tell it in the next like
6 months.
like the dude the mid-journey V5 moment for video is coming. Now I've been actively following this space for about 18 months and the difference is ridiculous.
In what way? Say more.
Dude, the improvement is like this, especially on video. I don't know if you followed Midjourney V1 to
No.
Midjourney V5.
No.
It's ridiculous. Someone should be able to
yeah,
post
I saw a few. It's tough. It
Dude,
just become better. And
Until
better.
6 months ago, AI wasn't getting fingers right. Now it gets fingers right. Now it gets broadly like if I feed in my face and my general body structure, it's able to recreate. You are able to tell.
Yeah.
Most want.
Want you said.
Most
Really?
want. Most want. Yeah.
I
You can actually put the image of what I put on the clip. What's going to happen is there's going to be severe content overload. It's going to be ridiculous because cost of producing content is going to go lower, which is going to automatically create a market for the opposite, which is for the authentic, for the non-AI version of it, etc., etc., etc.
I completely agree.
Also, these AI
But how will you-
agencies are booming like crazy, so they're going to come to you and sell their product, and you'll be intrigued to buy it. And within the next 2 years, a lot of AI products will be there for content. Now, for example, in cricket, what I've done is I've lent my voice. I will talk in either Hindi or English.
I think Shashank, the question you asked was a great segue to part 2, which is large businesses are now realizing the importance of content. Entrepreneurs are realizing the importance of content. I think there's now a creator ecosystem that is helping people like us, for example, create content for our brands and do it a good way. But I think the other element of it, which is creators building monetization, one of which is either through building their own brands or building out their own P&Ls smartly, has not actually played out
At all.
well yet. I think if we were to think about the Pareto for creators, do you think top 1% of creators make 90% of the creator economy? I would think the number is somewhere
1%
close.
is probably very small.
Yeah.
Because actually the long tail is pretty big.
Economy-wise.
I mean, Pareto applies to the creator world also.
I think in a more extreme way. But why is content-led brands not, or creator-led brands, what has
It's
happened?
kind of ironic. Not only influencer, but even the movie stars and this like
Sports.
cricketers and things like that. Even their brands per se, by and large, have not really done as well as it could have.
When it has done well in the Western world, Prime Energy, all of that, 10 examples of
Yeah,
billion-dollar brands
100%.
led through
Kevin
content
Hart has a
creators.
vegan burger chain.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dwayne Johnson, the Kardashians have
Yeah, it's
multiple
insane.
ones.
Multiple,
The-
Everyone.
Fenty,
Everyone.
your beauty
Fenty,
or Selena. It's,
Yeah.
This logic of तुम्हारे पास distribution है तो आप product launch कर दो somehow it doesn't work.
Is
in
it the
India.
operations that they're not cracking the right?
I have a thesis, but I actually would love to first
My
know from you.
my hypothesis is it's a hypothesis is it goes down to credibility. I feel with content creators, the credibility about business, money, and something intelligent, sorry to say this, is very low.
Interesting.
People don't trust you with that credibility about they're there for the camera, they can make content, but something related to product will not work or business will not work. I think that's there. This is for content creators slowly. Credibility question. Second is to reach the first 10 CR with your personal reach is very easy. It's after this, how do you grow completely depends on the product.
Yeah.
Like I have tried a lot of actresses and their products, right? They have the reach. I think they made the first NCR very easily. I have left 90% of them because the product was not worth it.
And why is that? I agree with you. But why
Yeah.
do you think that is so? Because again, it's happened in the Western world that a massive celebrity launched a skincare or a travel or a apparel brand,
Yeah.
and it kept growing and growing, and the product was also great, and it
Yeah.
entered a virtuous loop and became a billion-dollar brand. Has happened multiple times.
Yeah.
Why do you think? it's
I don't
not
know.
happening?
I'm just like spitballing here. Maybe, for example, like Yeezy went to Adidas and Nike, right? Kanye went to Adidas and Nike for Yeezy. Credible people to build a credible business. Your Fenty and Selena went to the top CXOs of the biggest brands and built it with them, and then whatever.
Good
I
point.
feel like content creators and celebrities put too much merit on their reach. And not working with the right people who have already made legitimate brands.
I think that's a great point.
that is one
I think
issue.
Honest Company was a good example of like Jessica Alba like tying up with very good professional management from very early on. I don't know how the business went up and down, but she actually got this right from the get-go.
Exactly, yeah.
I also think, at least in the influencer space, I do not know about the cricketer in Bollywood as much. There's a very big skill set gap. I feel like creators,
इतना सच भी मत बोलो.
like course बेचना एक चीज हुआ, वो भी technically business है, but that is low fixed cost and that kind of works because it's like very connected to your content. But I don't think necessarily a creator understands how operationally difficult businesses are. And I've seen so many brands just coming out and do a launch and then product में दम नहीं है, operation distribute नहीं हो रहा है, or it's not reaching you in 3 days.
I absolutely agree. Yeah.
The operational skills is just so different.
And I think that's where Katrina killed it with K, because again that problem of not working with the right people by doing this with Nykaa. And she is the biggest celebrity-owned skincare / makeup brand in the country because of Nykaa.
Or Shilpa Shetty and Mama Earth. That deal was like iconic in its own way. At
I
that
would
time,
say it was not Shilpa Shetty's brand, right? She was still endorsing. That's a still different deal.
but the equity deal was very sizable and very
Of
early
course.
on, and like the
Of
way they
course.
built it out together was
It's I
phenomenal.
would say it's halfway there.
Yeah.
But a celebrity saying मेरी इतनी reach है, तो मैं लक्स और डव क्यों बेच रहा हूँ?
Correct.
मैं खुद का साबुन लॉन्च करता हूँ.
Correct.
और that hasn't happened at scale.
Not
I think,
necessarily with
the-
alcohol in none of these places. Yeah, sorry.
Celebrities are usually not the make or break for a product to be successful. It's usually like, again, I think it's actually a solve for to some degree solve for attention, right? If you notice the two biggest successes in this space, the HRX and K Beauty, right?
Yeah.
What is common between them?
The platform were different.
Which is absolutely massive distribution platform with
Myntra and Nykaa.
expertise that came in,
Between
found
the
the right
brand and
brand, the right celebrity, the right product, and that's when it worked. Did it help that Hrithik and Katrina were part of it? Fuck yes.
Yeah.
So you can't deny that it can help,
Yeah.
right? Also, why should we expect so many successes? Also, there's actually 3 or 4 pretty decent success. I think Nishair is another really solid example of decent sized business. Have we had 500 crore, 1000 crore outcome? No, but how many of those do they have, or do we even have in general? So
But even 50 crore, don't.
ये तुम कौन से वेन डायग्राम में इतना छोटा स्लीवर है कि एक्सपेक्ट करना ही मुश्किल है.
Tanmay, the question is coming from कि जब the ratio of their reach to
Yeah.
the businesses that they're building
Yeah.
is much smaller than in the West.
अरे
And
सर
why is-
जीडीपी भी तो
हाँ,
देखो
but-
ना. अगर लोगन पॉल ने मतलब $30 का हुडी लॉन्च किया तो पहले दिन पे 2000 तो बिक ही जाते हैं. यहाँ पे वो बिकता ही नहीं है क्योंकि है ही नहीं कंज्यूमर परचेसिंग पावर. दैट्स वन. कंज्यूमर परचेसिंग पावर है बट फॉर थिंग्स लाइक कोर्सेज, राइट, वो है. द अदर थिंग इज यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट. एक सिंपल मैथ करते, राइट. द पाथ टू 50 crores in bank account is very clear if you are a movie star, right? It's way more dhundla through product. Why the fuck should I? Why would my screen be in the game? मैं इतना क्यों, मैं आधा नहीं चल रहा, कट लो वहाँ से. Path to 50 crore in bank account is so clear to me. Why would you invest
It's
so
the
much time?
craze behind passive income.
हाँ?
It's the craze behind passive income.
अरे लाइवलीहुड
Not
देखो ना,
that password
तुम्हारा
होना है.
ब्रांड का वैल्यू 200-300 करोड़ होगा, तुम्हारे पास 20% इक्विटी है, लिक्विडिटी इवेंट चाहिए होता है, पैन बेचने के लिए तैयार, तो इन्वेस्टर नीड्स टू बाय यू आउट. इन्वेस्टर को सोचना पड़ेगा कि इसको मैं निकालूंगा कैप रेट से, ब्रांड की वर्थ क्या होगी. अरे कैसे बनेगा? हलवा थोड़ी है. क्यों बनेगा? जब स्पॉन्सर तुम्हें 5 crore रुपए देगा साल का, तुम why would you want to hedge your reputation by doing it's obvious. Like, I don't understand why we ask this as a failure of celebrities or creators. It's the market.
So I would challenge that because the same was true for Kim Kardashian and Rihanna कि उनको बहुत पैसा मिल रहा था, उनको कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं थी. If you are saying कि Indian creators को lower ambition रखना चाहिए is a different वो कि तुम मत करो.
The same can't be said, sir. Products there, like purchasing power में फर्क
No, but
तो बहुत होता है
Prime
यार.
is relatively in the US is still sold for only $2. Like, in the US, like even the Gatorade is sold for $2. Even Prime is $2. So hypothetically, India's A-list creator, whoever that is, A+ list creator, if they were to launch their own version of a Sting Energy, hypothetically, would it kick off or would it not?
See, I'll agree with what Tanmay is saying. What happens there? Logan Paul, Prime, Beyonce, Fenty, etc. Aspirational for people, but affordable. People with purchasing power can actually buy it. Here, your Katrina Kaif, HRX are not aspirational for people like you and me, probably, who have the purchasing power.
I think
So the people with the deep pockets are not buying these brands because you have enough money to buy the other brands. And mass India, who they should be targeting, cannot afford these brands.
that's I think a key thing कि the mass reach, like we discussed, most brands in India right now are selling to the top
Of course.
10 to 15
ये
million.
HRX का membership नहीं है afford कर
and
पाएंगे.
उनके बीच में बड़े स्टार की रीच का एक्चुअली इतना वैल्यू नहीं.
नहीं है.
Correct.
That's I think the core reason why big stars are not making
And then
big
also
brands.
product working with the right
No,
people.
it's also the right branding also, yeah. Like, I think, for example, Ranveer Singh is co-founder at Boldcare.
That's perfect.
Where it was literally, actually, it was just one Instagram video that
Subtle integration बात हम लोग बोल.
one Instagram video that took the company for, I don't want to disclose numbers, but it was a massive difference just because of the awareness.
Yeah.
Just because of awareness.
I think that model is brilliant. जो आप
उसमें भी
Boldcare
जैसे
model is
you team up with experts who are building the bloody product, you
Yeah.
take a decent size of it and be like, now let me do shit that grabs so much attention
Yeah.
that your bottom line moves just because of awareness.
But इसमें ना there's also a market. The bold.
Sorry, one more
go
category.
ahead.
In categories where product innovation is not drastic. Right? Branding can only take you so far if products are similar only. The condom ही है at the end of the day कितना ही तुम करो उसके.
But in like a lot of cases, for example, in the bold care space, the market is very deep and the issue is very strong.
Correct.
And consumers are looking for it without social discussion. So they'll straight come to the brand and buy
ढूंढ रहे
something.
disruptor incumbents के लिए.
हाँ?
Disruptor ढूंढ रहे हैं incumbents के लिए.
वो दिख रहा है उन लोगों को. So then I think the smartness was tremendous in identification of the market and then creative manifestation.
Awareness, because now you will search for it and go. You don't need a stimuli to come see us. This is a problem. You're going to search for it.
If you search, like if you look at people, like look at what Revant is doing in Mosaic. That business is scaling because he knows his customers will straight come to him for a solution.
Yeah.
Straight. Okay, इधर उधर जाएगा ही नहीं. There the funnel is like a cylinder almost. Right?
What people are also doing are entrepreneurs who just want to start a business but don't know what to send. They go to Amazon, they see top 10 search
Searches,
keywords.
yeah.
Top 10 में उसी का ही business बना लेते हैं.
तो वो तो
For a
market का
reason,
proxy
हाँ.
है.
I think एक और ये, I don't know if you guys have noticed or feel this, that celebrity world, the Bollywood world, the influencer world, and the business world, the CXOs, CMOs, etc. When I see the West, the kind of like hand in gloveness there, that you know, when a celebrity wants to start, they talk to the best guys and you know, bring on board the best talent and start. वो India में there's a big
Slowly
gap.
बन रहा है.
हाँ, slowly
बन रहा है, but there's a massive gap.
Yeah.
Also, I think there is a like, I won't say it, it's fine. Why should
I
piss
said
off
it. I
citizens?
said it's not intelligent. Now tell
Arre,
now you
in
have to say
general,
it.
CMOs you piss off. Don't take a
No,
deal.
no. No, there isn't like, yeah, you're right. The degree of precision and professionalism with which they approach these products, that isn't there. But I don't think this is like a. It's also still very new.
It's
Like,
changing.
It's very new. Like,
I don't think it'll remain that way. ऐसा नहीं कि
it will change. Like we are also like again ये वही है ना कि
जल्दी आ गया बस.
हमको दिख रहा है वहां से सब एग्जांपल दिख रहे हैं तो यहाँ पे नहीं हो रहा है तो ऐसा लग रहा है कि हम नहीं कर पा रहे नहीं हो रहा है.
Next 5
I
साल
also
में
feel for example इसमें ना there is an opportunity to like make it a trifecta. Like there should be a face which is an A-lister or an A++ lister. There should be operating muscle which is very clear. I think there should be capital which is strategic. Like if for example a Sequoia or Elevation or any of this like high quality private equity / venture capital funds are able to bring this
It's happening
together,
now.
put capital behind
Sachin
it.
is starting a brand.
With space?
Sorry?
with space.
In the sports goods space. And they've gotten on
CEO.
a very experienced operator to do it.
Nice.
I'm not sure if I'm
Fantastic.
supposed to be saying the details, but itna to hai.
But
कि this
capital is
happening
from-
and capital is
And capital
coming
is from
from
third
a
party.
tier 1 fund.
Fantastic.
In fact, the tier 1 fund is who brought these two together. They knew that Sachin is looking, they knew that this guy is looking, and they did the
Fantastic.
marriage.
I just
That
want
is the kind of I think that is the kind of stuff that needs to happen.
Ecosystem is happening.
I think yeah, I personally know creators who are clocking 40 crore PAT. Okay. Yeah, I know creators.
बस कर
Who are-
पगली.
No, I know creators between YouTube, live shows, courses, etc. 40 crore पैट हो रहा है. क्यों चाहिए धंधा? बढ़िया चल रहा है तुम.
ऐसे सवाल पूछे
पैट
जा
वालों को
रहे
नहीं
हैं.
चाहिए.
है यार, अरे है. There are real examples. There are enough on YouTube.
sure.
You know these.
I'm sure.
Like why is this like
नहीं चाहिए, नहीं चाहिए.
this thing of like वो धंधा ही होना चाहिए? नहीं भाई.
So
It's a
let's come to
human
that
sin,
actually.
greed. जितना मिलता है उसके बाद grow ही
I
करना
also
होता
think
है.
there is a thing
Also, you क्यों करना
that
है?
when you're a creator, you're viewed as a creator. When you're an entrepreneur, there is a ये business.
Oh ये this is like a harder. नहीं है ये भी
I
धंधा ही है. बढ़िया धंधा है.
Numbers wise, that makes way more sense. But the
Numbers wise.
respect wise, like even if you're the best creator, you'll never be a Shark Tank judge. You'll never be like there's a ego or whatever associated. I think there is a different way people.
I think
perceive
celebrities
you.
are also going that route, whether it's your cricketers or your actors, because of the positioning. हमारी
Don't seem
PR
smart
team,
enough.
हाँ, हमारी PR team क्या बोल रही है? तुम्हारा थोड़ा business
हमें-
mind
Bro,
है.
कम से कम 20 creators जानता हूँ who are in like at least 10 crore plus PAT. Okay, उतने ढंग नहीं जानता मैं कौन सी D2C ब्रांड बताओ कितने हैं
हम चलते हैं भाई
Bad पे बता।
Bad की बात नहीं है।
मतलब this if you are able to do this sustain it for 10 years बन गया भाई, it's as good as a fucking beautiful exit, like what are you talking
That is
about?
insane. But let's come to this, like creator economics, and you speak about it a lot. But the base of the pyramid, number of people entering this world is so high, and the starting point is so difficult.
Yeah.
How does one think about economics of a creator business, even if it's a one-person business? Forget about kind of moving on to hiring teams, investing in infra, this, that. If I want to be an entrepreneur in the creator economy, how do I think? And by entrepreneur, I don't mean I have to start a brand off my reach. I'm saying, how do I build reach and create capital off of that? How do you do that?
So how do you become a brand?
How do you
say-
make money off engagement? How do you make money off of engagement? How like, do you guys think of it from a framework, or do you guys
This is my question basically.
or do you guys follow where the money is? Like, and you say, okay, fine, this is where it's coming from brand deals. Let me follow it, milk it, and then look for
Yeah.
the next thing. Or do you pivot smartly enough? Is it
I'll tell you where the
agile?
money is not, which is it's a concept called angel investing. ठीक है मैंने इतने पैसे डुबाए हैं ना माँ कसम, पर calling myself angel investor felt very cool
Very
बाबा।
cool.
That's the thing.
कुछ सालों के लिए तो बहुत मजा आया बोला के।
Creator, comma, investor.
पैसे के बाद आप
Yeah.
इज्जत के भूख के
That's a very good. ये please ये title डाल दो इसमें।
क्या what do you say?
Podcast का।
पैसे के बाद इज्जत की भूख आती है तो इज्जत चाहिए
But that's like, to become an angel investor is significant amount of liquidity that has to happen before you can say, I can deploy. 5
No,
lakhs
you
in
can
multiple
deploy small
companies.
checks and feel cool also.
Yeah.
So how do you get there through content? How does one think about it? How do you think about monetizing or building monetizable content platforms? How do you build content expertise, platform expertise, hiring? What are the milestones? Like,
I feel
just break
one
this
is
down.
your not erstwhile would be a wrong word to your OG content creators had already created that ecosystem, so anyone new who is coming is going to start mimicking it.
Okay.
So whether it's your Instagram content creators or YouTube or your streamers etc, they had already set up the ecosystem जो अभी जो पिछले 2 साल में आ रहे हैं वो उन्हीं को मिमिक करके आ रहे हैं कि ये स्ट्रीमिंग में ऐसे करता है, ये सुपर फैंस करता है, ये इतना पैसे कमाता है, ये इन ब्रांड्स के साथ काम करता है. Similarly for fashion, lifestyle, sports, fitness etc. So that one thing was set pre-COVID and it's just getting mimicked.
Mimicking is not a bad strategy, frankly.
It is not, because now it has become an industry standard of sorts. Everyone knows if you're a micro, nano, alpha influencer, content creator, तुम्हारे commercial की तुम्हारी rate list क्या होएगी? That is almost a industry standard now. Until you become so big that you start dictating what you want to do and how much you want to charge for it, brands will come. There is no stopping brands. Whether you're a nano influencer or an alpha influencer, brands are going to come because brands need your distribution and brands need your platform. You're nothing but a distribution channel for them. The question is, how do you innovate yourself and you can sustain this long term? Because there are so many people who are now slacking. You have to, this is a complete compounding game. You have to be super, super, super consistent. You have to grow so that your money grows. You have to show the numbers so that the brands are willing you pay the X amount. I thought you were going to say something.
No, I agree.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, if you are starting off, from the outside, it feels like this creator work is so saturated, etc. That's because you're looking at entertainment creators. Like, I think entertainment creators have it the toughest.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Because it's so saturated.
Yeah.
But also the pie is much bigger.
So hard to do, man.
Yeah, it's pie is much bigger in terms of amount of sponsorship money that's coming in. If you are just starting off, I would say, like, find your niche. Okay, no matter what the niche is. For example, I don't know who India's best content creator is when it comes to HR, people management. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there an audience for it? Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Every single person who goes to an office is an audience.
Yeah.
Can you launch an HR, can you launch an office
HRX.
brand
Yeah.
with
HRX.
can you launch a good name? Can you launch an HR brand with can you launch an office brand with something specific to HR? Launch a consultancy out of it? Yeah, it's a wide space. I think niche is a great place to go.
Start, yeah.
I think niche is I know plenty of examples in the West, like guy who makes content by cleaning gardens is running a $4 million a year
There's a guy
business.
who only talks about Excel code.
Only that.
formulas.
That's a
Real
brand.
estate of one particular small niche area.
Yeah.
Like literally just Bandra real
Just
estate.
doing that,
Yeah.
and by product of just GDP of country and purchasing power, there's a decent sized business. The guy literally who cleans gardens, it's just one setup, one camera, और वो टाइम लैप्स लगा देते हैं उसको और गार्डन साफ
बहुत ही
करते हैं और
सही
मैं
लगेगा।
सब कुछ देख लेता हूँ उसको क्योंकि कितना खूबसूरत लगता है जब गार्डन बन जाता है प्यार से काटते
अरे
हैं
mukbang, people just eating in front of the camera.
just eating whatever. So start off in a niche. Where if you're in a niche like if you can start a service brand, I think you'll be able to see dollar from day
अभी
one.
तूने
From day
बोला
one.
पैसे मिल रहे हैं तो ब्रांड क्यों शुरू कर रहे हो?
मैं सर्विस ब्रांड बोल रहा हूँ ना मैं सर्विस ब्रांड बोल रहा
Product
हूँ सर्विस ब्रांड बोल रहा हूँ
okay,
मैं
fair.
सर्विस ब्रांड बोल रहा हूँ it's I don't there's only anecdotal data for me, but if you are an individual who has gathered trust, it's easier to convert me into a service faster. So you're probably likely seeing dollar first, right? So if
Also
you're
very similar to education courses, right? Like it's almost similar to a
Absolutely,
service
yeah,
business.
value for money ढूंढ रहा है ना बंदा
I think step one exactly what you said is credibility पहले बना लो.
Because you are the product.
because you are the product.
Yeah.
वैल्यू फॉर मनी ढूंढ रहा है मेरे को लगता है कि इसका कोर्स करने से या फिर मेरा टाइम बचेगा या फिर मेरा पैसा बचेगा लाइकली पैसा बचेगा या फिर मेरे को बेटर जॉब मिलेगा या फिर मैं ज़्यादा पैसा कमाऊंगा ये मेन हुक्स तो यही है और सर्विस में मैं पैसे दे रहा हूँ तो मेरे को क्लियर सर्विस मिल रहा है so you'll see a lot of these are already starting to happen which
So
is
what are some examples of service?
I'll give you I
creative?
was just getting
Yeah.
I'll just get into it some examples are here service business
तो जो 40 करोड़ पैट की बात कर रहे हैं ये मेरे को लगता है 40 एग्जैक्ट
Only spending number.
50 नहीं
No, man, you, but I know of a creator. I was speaking to a creator 2 nights ago who was telling me his absolute bonker numbers that he's doing. Anyway, for example, I know a couple of creators who make beauty content, but have a nail salon,
Oh, really?
right? Nail salon, which is like
Trying
a
to guess what I can't think of. Okay.
yeah, like it's a hardcore service business. You come to my store and I am at my store every day and I'm doing this. So these kind of examples, I think you'll keep seeing more and more because individual trust lead to a service is the quickest part to seeing dollar on day one. This is random advice.
And
but yeah.
that's where the niche comes in because you have to be credible in your niche and I think do a service brand within that niche.
Yeah, bro. No,
That
no
will
niche
feed
is-
into that will feed into each other.
Bro,
If
real
your
estate
fitness-
guys.
Yeah.
Service brand.
Yeah.
क्या मोनेटाइज किया उन्होंने यार
Keval Ramani and Ravi Keval Ramani and all these guys.
हाँ।
Incredible.
रील पे घर भेज रहा है क्या है
Crazy.
मजाक चल रहा है
सिर्फ बैंड्रा में ऑपरेट करते हैं
But have you seen their captions and all are so well written, like
crafted,
so
yeah,
well
yeah.
written.
They have perfected it.
And they're
over-
very good in front of the camera. One take wonders. Amazing.
I think if you started just a nutrition service,
Yeah.
right, you will make money from day one. Just,
Nutritionists.
yeah,
No,
just
like-
nutrition service. Just tell me what you eat in a day. I'll tell you this. You replace it. Here's. If you
Yeah.
want to snack or eat junk, this is what I would recommend. These are the healthiest options. Etc. Here, buy this CGM off me, and then you make some money on top of that. Use ChatGPT Claude. You can monitor blood work every month. It's.
There's this
You think
service
people
in
won't
the
buy it? I think
US.
people would buy it from you.
There's a service in the US that will work very good for you. हम पता नहीं क्यों हम ऐसे
Oh, thanks,
ideas.
man.
So basically, what you do in that app is you scan the label of any product. Once you scan it, the app will tell you what is good, what is bad, and it has degrees. Like they'll rate it 2 out of 10 in terms of ingredients. So much fat. Like they rank the label.
Got it.
That is great.
I'm actually sort of working on something similar, and that the second one, not the first. I think and the first one also sounds good.
Yeah.
Scanning the app and it'll give you a.
Because I'm a label freak. मुझे जानना है मेरे products में क्या है, मैं क्या खाती हूँ, क्या लगाती हूँ, मुझे जानना है. But ingredients ऐसे होते हैं मुझे समझ नहीं
It's
आता
so
है क्या.
complex, huh?
There's so many of these waiting to be built, like folks who do interior decorative content.
Yeah.
Like we start a consultancy immediately from once you have a certain degree of trust. So
It's a good point actually. People who already have existing businesses, like even you spoke about, looking like a wow. That woman is extraordinary on content. By the way, you see her other stuff.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
really-
She continue. I don't.
She
Punjabi
has a
Bharber, she
boutique.
sells-
No, she has a boutique. She sells her clothes.
But that was something she was doing for a long time. One thing went crazy, and then after that, she's had a new normal.
Yeah.
But ability to start, a lot of this content actually comes from people who already are running a nail salon or one of these businesses. Build out content to create an additional layer of customers, and then some of it takes off, and then they are then able to expand into more outlets or more cities or some access of expansion.
But is stickiness still there? Like the earlier thing, like they may see an initial burst, but can they sustain it over 4-5 years?
I think that's when the content game kind of starts compounding. Then if you then do it once and then you can't stop doing it. You can't just say, okay, now
Wait, the problem of consistency
You
and
keep doing
innovation.
it, like-
You have to keep doing it.
Yashara
How can you say
Mukherjee
that?
is such a
Most
phenomenal
like,
example. of
like
this.
for example, restaurants started by celebrities again. Like they all shut down in 3-4 years.
See, restaurant business in India is
Restaurant
the
bites
most
are very
risky.
difficult.
Hospitality is the riskiest business in India.
Look at Yashraj Mukherjee, for example. I find that guy. So I'm a big music fan. I thought that his initial set of music pieces were good but kind of similar. But boss, that guy realized that what his audience likes, his skill kept increasing. So I don't know whether
4 साल से हर साल पेल रहा है वो.
हर साल एक
साल
तो
में 2 बार तो वायरल
Viral
होता
होता
ही है.
yeah, but have you noticed like his skill is tremendously improving.
Phenomenally talented.
It's improving. It's not like he's doing the same thing and he's getting lucky. He's actually really becoming very good.
The fact that he still goes viral now, because there can be fatigue that can kick in. This is one format.
Yeah.
The fact that he's still able to go viral now.
And
is like-
viral to another level.
Another
Like
level.
it's the millions of reels.
Dude, I was telling Yashraj, saying, bro, he should close at Sunburn. Like, and he's actually, I have to delete this because I don't know. Actually, he's done it publicly also. I was telling Yashraj that, like, if today he closed Sunburn, and if he had a 20-song set, they can be his songs, but it's the dance versions of it. It'll be an absolute banger set.
Yeah,
100%. You don't think I want to dance to looking like it'll be a rave, dude. It'll be killer. Party हो रही है, फिर वो सस्ते नशे is a song. Like, there's so many banger hits. dude.
Sustenance is his song, is it?
This is his song.
I think it's RJ something. RJ.
Rashi-
No,
what was
he's
the Rashi
hummed
song?
it, but he turned it into a song.
What was the Rashi song?
रसोड़े में
रसोड़े में
कौन था?
हाँ, मैं थी तुम थी कौन था?
तो imagine 5 तो हमने ही लिए हैं, और भी है. वो बजाएगा कॉन्सर्ट पे, लोग पागल हो जाएंगे.
See, now that is a crazy niche.
Yeah.
Service business.
So, it's a service business. You're right.
The interesting thing for me here, there's a parallel in the startup world also, exactly what you guys are saying, that everyone starts by saying ये इतनी बड़ी मार्केट है, हम इसका 0.5% ले लेंगे, सारे VC के डेस्क में ही चल रहा है. When it's proven for 100 years that the only way to start a company is to get 80% market share of a small part of the market, rather than
Scale it,
a
yeah.
0.5% market share
Of a
of
big,
a
correct.
100 large market. Which is what you guys are also saying. Start like that. I think where the problem comes is वो आंटी ने कुछ वायरल कंटेंट बनाया, अपना नेल सैलून चलाया, उसमें अगर 10 लाख पैड बना के वो खुश हो जाती तो बढ़िया था. लेकिन अभी उनकी रीच बैठी है 5 करोड़ पे और सैलून सिर्फ पंजाबी बाग में है, तो उनको गैप दिखता है कि अब मैं इसको बड़ा कर सकती हूँ. लेकिन उसको बड़ा करने के लिए ऑर्ग लगेगी, उसके लिए प्रोडक्ट को स्केल करना पड़ेगा, टीम लानी पड़ेगी, वो सब करना पड़ेगा. उस लालच में फट जाती है.
Yeah, sir, service
I
business.
100% agree with that.
But what are the skills you think one needs to build out? Like as from a creator standpoint, one is the core intrinsic creator skills, which is around content, understanding audience segments, understanding what works, getting the editing part of it right, infra, etc. But beyond that, what really differentiates great creators who you have seen work with, you guys yourselves are, that really differentiates the great from the good?
I think for me, what I've observed is people who are innovating. So, like, every 2-3 years, they're sort of reinventing. Even like Tanmay, I guess, is an example. Like, it's been 10 years plus that we've been watching and he's still relevant, still, like, there, up there. Like, similarly, there are people who've been able to create a content format which is which you get repeated content out of and you can keep doing it. I think podcast is for the 2-3 people who've cracked the podcast game, that's like amazing because you're getting content from others. So you can continue to be relevant for a very long time. Some other people who've not been able to do that, like, vloggers and things like that, they eventually sometimes lose the popularity. So I think that strength of being able to change your format multiple times, change your persona, that is, like I myself, for example, like, in my own journey, I often tell you that, oh, इसमें ये खराब है, इसमें ये अच्छा है. Some people have told me कि यार मैं बोर हो गया अब इससे भी. अब you have to also, like, otherwise people will not care about you as well.
What are the skills you need to build intrinsic beyond just pure content skills? What skills differentiate? Or skills are maybe even like intrinsic capabilities of human beings that differentiate. Like, for example, with founders, and I'll give the example of founders. Resilience and the ability to go through shit at a personal level, at a corporate level, funding rounds going through will differentiate great founders from people who will not be able to make it, all else equal. So resilience becomes a clear founder skill, right? And you see this globally.
I think
So creators में क्या है? What is what?
फाउंडर ही है यार, बेस लेवल स्किल तो
उनका खुद का ब्रांड है ना, वही हाँ.
रेजिलियंस तो चाहिए है. कैरी सेबेस्टियन 7 साल तक वीडियो अपलोड करा था, फिर जाके पहला वीडियो फटा. There are many examples like this of folks who just absolutely at it and then eventually something happened. And you know, I look at creators as founders of their own business, which is how ambitious they are, whether you want to actually go ahead and build a physical business or office. So that really depends. But core skills तो वही होते हैं यार, जानते हो, उतना अलग नहीं है. वही तो बोल रहा हूँ. फाउंडर जो नेगेटिव पैट और 40 करोड़ पैट पे बैठा है, skills तो base level skills of resilience and all that, so you need only.
I'll say one thing, it's not a skill, but I feel like I know so many kids in Bombay recently and a lot of people pan-India who are not continuing their education because this looks very lucrative to them. And they're getting into the content creation business because of the optics because of the optics of it. And to them, I would say, don't do that.
100%.
Finish your education. There's so many young people who have gotten into this too early, and because of the success, fame, money, have completely neglected what is important in life. And I think at that early age, finish your foundations first and then get into it.
Actually, the phrase here that I like to use is skills before thrills, bro.
Yeah.
Like this will ensure that you will never get dicked over by life. Like if you have this. Like sometimes I feel like actually my core skill is just being able to string words together interestingly. At the heart of it, which is the 25 years of just writing and performing and just writing and performing. Because all of a sudden, what all can I monetize? I can be a corporate show host, I can be a writer, I can write ads, I can make YouTube videos, I can blog, I can do this. Because core skill एक बार develop हो गया ना. और आजकल प्रॉब्लम वही है, we're back to dopamine regulation, which is that very early on you get sucked into brain rot, as they call it now, that ये core skill develop ही नहीं होता है.
And it is
job
so
hop करते
vivid.
हैं ताकि this job hopping has become the new way to keep.
And when you put these young people in a conversation, then you will actually realize that ये तो उनकी foundation building और skill set building हुई नहीं है because of the sudden jump, like literally be thrown into the hens.
The content seems easy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It just seems like everyone can do it.
It's actually
it's so hard.
We joke about it in the few people circle who understand marketing also. Like we joke about it कि no one thinks about finance कि कोई भी कर लेगा. Everyone is like नहीं CA की डिग्री करनी पड़ेगी, उसके बिना फाइनेंस करेगा, या सप्लाई चेन कोई भी कर नहीं पढ़ाई करनी पड़ेगी फाइनेंस के लिए, ऐसे
गणित आना चाहिए.
हाँ. Marketing everyone is like हम कर लेंगे, ऐड ही बनानी है ना, हम भी बना लेंगे, ऐसी क्या बात है?
It's considered a softer skill.
It's people think there is no science to it. People think that there is not 10 years of hard work behind it. People think that people haven't honed. Just because you can't see the skill, actually the most valuable skills in the world are the ones you can't put a finger on. You can't say कि आदमी क्या कर गया, जो पूरा कमरा, like he shifted the energy. Bloody, that's a skill that he's cultivated over 20 years. He walks into a room of 500 people and shifts the energy. You think it happened by birth? No chance. Like that's the most valuable skill.
And also it's super fast moving. It is so fast paced. The changes, the innovation, everything. It's very rapid and it's tough to keep up with it. But my first job was at this company. I'm not going to name it LinkedIn mein वैसे, but
A good way to plug your LinkedIn followers.
LinkedIn, yeah. So my first job there was the marketing team did not understand content. Okay, I was the youngest. To put it in perspective, I was the youngest person there, right? So when I used to talk about content marketing, it used to be crickets in the background, and they were like, "नहीं हो जाएगा." उन्होंने संभाला 2-3 campaigns, एकदम flop हुए, ठीक है, completely flop. And this is when I said that you need to hire the right people who understand content as well. So at my last 2 jobs, we started hiring young people who understood content, who are themselves consumers of content, who are creating content themselves, and it really works.
I think there's I completely agree. I think there's just you guys were talking about young people, skills before thrills. There's a trap there also, because the young folks get it so intuitively. They think that is a well that will never run dry. You are good at it at first, but अगर तुम skill नहीं बनाओगे, basics नहीं सीखोगे, तो that well will run dry.
तभी तुम manager हो, वो नहीं, ये भी है. And then you have to groom them to become Gen Z मैं बात नहीं करने
बताओ
अरे ये इसमें शांतु को बहुत मजा आता है।
Gen Z
No, it's very tough to manage Gen Z people.
Impossible.
It's too tough to manage. So मेरा सर
अब
दर्द हो
तो
जाता है.
वायरलिटी पक्का है इसकी।
नहीं, वैसे- no, yeah, Gen Z gets a bad rep because of the, like work-life balance and that whatever. That's the same. It's the same conversation, right? It's tough to.
It's like you have to. I don't want to micromanage, but I just have to.
अरे पर वो दोनों डार्विनी ने मैं कह रहा हूँ हर जनरेशन में होता है ये
हाँ,
एब्सोल्यूट ओवरअचीविंग जो
How my dad
बचपन
treats
से
me is the
पढ़ाई
same
कर
way I
रहे
treat a Gen Z dude. That's absolutely true.
dude the kid who at whatever at 10 years old had internet and
Yeah,
some of them just decided to read Wikipedia, some of them decided to scroll Instagram.
I also find some Gen Z folks, some
absolutely brilliant.
जो हाँ, क्योंकि उसको पहली जनरेशन है जिसको सोशल सिक्योरिटी थी कि मैं भूखा तो नहीं मरूंगा, पापा ने काफी पैसा कमा लिया, राइट? तो वो 12 साल की उम्र में स्टार्टेड वॉन्डरिंग एंड ट्राइंग टू फिगर आउट कि मुझे करना क्या है लाइफ में। 10 में से 8 तो भटक गए, बट 2 जिनको चमक गया, अच्छा आई वांट टू बिकम वीडियो एडिटर, बाय द टाइम दे 22 दे पुट इन 10 years into
it's
video
done.
Have to agree.
Dude, video editing sort of
Video editors
It's
are
software,
so
bro.
good.
There are 16-year-old kids who are freelancing at 5 jobs and
Yeah.
making 25 LPA.
and they're bloody good. Like I was like मैं मतलब बिना सोचे कैट की तैयारी कर रहा था 21 साल की उम्र में।
I think in specific the video editors who started editing videos when they were 13 and now
Yeah,
they're
they're so
21.
bloody
They are
good.
so brilliant. Like, actually, I have
Darwin,
to agree.
you know this
The
kid-
video
yeah.
editors just killed it.
This kid called Ishan, do you know Ishan?
Sukul.
I don't know, he runs a podcast also.
Sukul,
now.
yeah, Ishan.
Ishan Sharma.
Ishan
Sharma,
Sharma.
yeah,
Ishan
Sharma.
Sharma.
Sorry,
Ishan
Sukul
Sharma.
तो वो है।
He's 20, he's 20 or 21.
Which Pilani dropout?
Yeah, and a lot of people like to be mean to him because he's just a young kid who's putting himself out there, etc., etc. I think a lot of it is just envy. He's very
very
vocal
good.
about at 21 talking about how much money he's making, etc. A lot of it is also envy. But this is crazy. Like what he's doing is it takes immense amount of courage to just get shit on consistently and still keep outputting. Dude, if when I was 20, 21 and if like I did get shit on a lot privately, publicly तो पता ही नहीं, but it can take a toll and I think
I think people. I shot with Ishan like 4 days back. Boss, what a sweetheart he is. He's like he'll call me to the studio. Shantanu, it came down to like welcome me, took me like आपको coffee चाहिए क्या? I was like, dude,
किसी भी 21 साल के बच्चे को पूछ लो तुम ईशान के पैसे कमाना would you be happy with the kind of career his career is going? Every single person would say yes, but on Twitter they don't want to come and dunk on him. यार जब से comment section में likes आ गए ना तब से dunking has become
the Gen Z में also I think their life is a lot harder today. I think coming just like slightly.
It is.
It's so much harder to be
Yeah,
23 today
yeah.
than it was when I was 23. Jobs are harder, skills are. तो dopamine load जो आप बोल रहे हो,
everything is
so much
weaponized against them.
And
Everything is
this
weaponized.
overload of information. What should we do? What are we expected to do? What is right? What is wrong?
What tough है.
Our paths were
Very clear.
3-4 options हैं.
Yes.
तुम choose कर लो तुम्हें क्या करना है. They have it way harder. 100%.
Too much comparison for them also. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen I have only one person in my team, like a video editor, and he's doing exceedingly well for his background, making like 20x of what he was making 1 year ago. But that comparison on social
There's always
media.
another guy who's
Yeah, and that has just increased so much.
No, no, content, I think the expectations also become like, for example, आपका वो 40 crore पैट सुन के ना लोगों के दिमाग में वो expectation set हो जाता है एंकर होके
हाँ।
कि इतना पैसा
Please,
तो
please
बनूंगा।
clarify कर
ये
दो
बोलना
audience
चाहिए
में
ना।
यार।
You are that
But
guy
the
जो
founder को तो
Rolls-Royce
देखते हैं ना
के सामने खड़े
unicorn. Aspiration is important issue that it becomes almost normal to expect it.
Yeah.
When I started out, I did not expect to become a unicorn founder, frankly. $1 billion of valuation is very difficult, everyone knows it. But here, now, this somehow seems more achievable. Even though I think this is way harder.
Yeah.
वही देखो
Very
जहाँ
hard
पे
है।
सप्लाई बहुत हाई है ना
वो easy लगता है.
नहीं जहाँ पे सप्लाई बहुत है वो इजी लगता है पर वहाँ पे सक्सेस भी तो मुश्किल है
सबसे मुश्किल है।
Correct.
This is मुश्किल है. This is why when you said कि सबको लगता है marketing easy, I think I found the people at the apex of whatever field they're in, they tend to have appreciation for other people who are at the apex of whatever.
100%. I
Because they realize that अरे हर skill में रहता है भाई.
and which
Depth
is
is
why
important.
people at the edge of any game relate to each other.
Game recognized game.
Absolutely.
Game recognized game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's the envy thing what you said earlier. You're rarely envious of the professional artist or the athlete or whatever, right? But you're envious at your school reunion most.
Yeah.
Correct? Because you feel like, oh, circumstances were the same.
Same,
And-
yeah. मैं भी कर सकता था.
Yeah. So when you see
Yeah,
some
absolutely.
creator crushing it online, you feel like घर तो मेरे ऐसा है. The background is very similar. Then why is it? This is why attrition rate in management companies is very high, because it's hard to manage a creator who starts saying no to what is
Things,
effectively
correct.
your annual salary. Right? There's just the envy that starts developing. That's why attrition rate in management companies is extremely high.
Like artist management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they feel they can become the artist.
Yeah. Earlier, if you are managing A.R. Rahman, you feel like ये तो God gifted है.
मैं कर ही नहीं
मैं कर ही नहीं सकता. But if you're managing a
Some
comedy
or whatever, yeah.
sketch creator, it feels like ठीक है ऑफिस लाइफ में 2 चुटकुले मारने हैं ना, ये तो कर ही सकता हूँ मैं.
ये कास्टिंग एजेंट्स के साथ भी होता था. With the casting agents, like हम भी तो एक्ट कर सकते हैं.
Yeah.
हम भी तो एक्टर बन सकते हैं.
And but Bhumi Pednekar could act.
Yeah, I mean,
She could.
That's so true. Even I went to Gaurav Kapoor's stand-up comedy that day. He said, the girls are thinking how I've become fit. The guys are thinking, ये तो मैं भी कर सकता
मैं भी
हूँ.
कर सकता हूँ.
But
Exactly.
it's so hard.
So true.
It is so hard to do that.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
think
true.
there's another thing ना कि एक तो like you were saying कि I love that point कि cosmic lottery में 90% of our country still has gotten a very bad hand,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
For that guy to feel कि मेरे जैसा कोई
बन गया.
X crore पैड पे पहुंच गया है, so that dream is quite something, right? And second is in the creator वाला path कोई external dependency नहीं है. मैं खुद अकेला.
Phone के साथ.
Which is what makes it tougher.
Yeah, but it makes it feel easier. कि
Yeah.
Barrier to
because
entry is low.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm not talking. I'm talking about see when you get a bad hand in the कहाँ पैदा हुए वाली lottery, you actually have very low faith on any external dependency.
Yeah.
All institutions will fail you, government will fail you, everyone will fail you.
Imposter syndrome.
हाँ कि मतलब किसी ने मेरे साथ आज तक externally तो कुछ अच्छा हुआ ही नहीं है.
होगा भी
life
नहीं
में,
आगे.
होगा भी नहीं आगे. But इस पाथ पे तो मैं अकेला और मेरा फोन, राइट? तो इट फील्स वेरी एम्पावरिंग कि ये तो मैं कर दूंगा.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that's
stories are
when
such, na? Ankit Bayanpuri or the truck driver who reviews
exactly.
food. The stories are so
I love
extreme,
him.
right?
I was talking about the food videos, no? His video, I love watching it.
Do we feel like the creator space is more meritocratic in that sense? Like, like Bollywood criticized for being
Yes.
nepotistic.
Yes.
Is creator very meritocratic?
I think
Meritocratic as in?
Like, the better ones stand out and then they, like, just like it's easier for anyone to break in.
I think वो playbook tricky है. Like it's I see amazing content from creators who just don't have the engagement. I
See,
don't know why
barrier
that
to
happens.
entry नहीं है, because I feel your truck driver to like a finance CA certified to a doctor, anyone can become a content
No, it's a
creator.
popularity contest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a popularity contest. So if that is the merit we are,
then it is
I
then
feel
it is
you're
meritocratic.
fighting an algo, bro. In the end of the day, you're fighting an algo, and you just have to make sure that
You're
you're
not fighting an algo, you're gaming the
Gaming the algo.
You're
yeah.
gaming the algo.
You're
You're
gaming
gaming the algo.
You're
You're
gaming an
literally
algo.
saying algo CC person is still watching me. Transitions coming. Now it's come.
Also, it's also almost a arbitrage game. You have to be in the top 2%, then the algo suits you. The moment you're in the bottom 98%, you suit the algo.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're feeding the algo, sometimes the algo is feeding you. You have to be on the
It's very interesting.
being fed
Yeah.
element of it, and that's where it becomes. I don't know whether it's meritocratic. Merit is a very it's a very linear spectrum on a very weirdly varied universe.
Actually, yeah, even this particular podcast, right, is going to make people feel a certain way, right? Like I find social media, even after I feel like I've done fairly well for myself, I have to keep reminding myself that everything's not a race. Things, you will see things and you'll be like, oh, I wish I had that. It's a constant thing. And I have a framed cutout of Nawal's tweet, which is actually what everybody really wants at the end of the day, is a house full of love, a healthy body and a calm mind.
Yeah.
These 3 things, and you cannot buy this.
Yeah.
You can't buy this with anything.
That's
So
my
every-
daily prayer also.
Every time I feel like, I'm feeling a certain way, I'm like, oh, actually, these 3 are
That's all I need.
these 3. And it's going to be a 10, 20, 30 year journey to actually achieve all these things. It's just a healthy reminder to everyone. But yeah, every time I say this, people are like, oh, you can say this once you had professional success, etc. Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
only then do you actually start thinking about like, oh, I'm still sad or what? It's like,
point क्या है actually? That's true.
yeah.
No, but and you have to earn it. Like I also appreciate someone else saying कि तुम तो पैसा कमाने के बाद ऐसा बोल रहे हो, उसकी बात भी है, हाँ, this is a
Correct,
journey.
That's true, correct.
पहले यहाँ
I also
पहुँचो,
agree.
Correct.
and then this is the question कि इसके बाद भी खुशी क्यों नहीं मिली?
वो तो money can't buy happiness. We debate
Really.
पे
But
होता
सबको अपने अपने level पे anybody who finds like success is relative, right? Like
अरे
you realize that when you got promoted, you were still unhappy.
है. Yeah.
You know, when you
I'll
got
tell you a like recent lovely story. We went to the Lenskart भिवाड़ी में जो factory है उनकी, unbelievable, right? Like these guys have created a like imagine कहीं पे कोई order डालता है और यहाँ पे a robot starts making your lenses. It's amazing. तो वहाँ पे they had a machine which was making boxes. Like they had put a robot just to make the cardboard boxes also. So Amit, the co-founder, was taking us around, was telling us कि एक भैया इनके यहाँ पे जब पहले staff करता था, there was a guy who was 3x faster than the robot at making boxes. तो 3 साल उसने बनाए, तो इन्होंने उसको प्रमोट कर दिया कि अब तू 4 लोगों को मैनेज कर जो डब्बे बनाएंगे. 1 महीने के बाद वो आया, सर प्लीज मेरी तनख्वाह कम कर दो लेकिन मेरे को डब्बे बनाने, मेरे को आपको शाम को आके बताना नहीं कितने डब्बे बने, मेरे को लोगों को डांटना नहीं कि तूने क्यों नहीं बनाए डब्बे, तेरा डब्बा खराब बना है, ये वो, राइट. ही हैड फाउंड हैप्पीनेस. ही वाज लाइक मैं पूरा दिन हाथ का काम करता हूँ, एक्स मनी लेके जाता हूँ, आई एम वेरी गुड एट माय वर्क, इट गिव्स मी मेडिटेशन, इट गिव्स मी पीस, आई डू नॉट वांट anything else. Growth नहीं चाहिए मुझे.
You know, that's the reason why most of your resignation in an org happens in middle management and not lower. By the time they come to middle management, they're like, बस हो गया मेरा. यहाँ तो मुझे पैसे बहुत ज़्यादा दो, यहाँ मैं जा रहा हूँ.
you know, like after when I moved to Bangalore and then I started hanging out with folks who had multiple exits in some cases, I realized that at the very top actually some boredom भी solve कर रहे हैं. Actually boredom भी solve कर रहे हैं.
Yeah.
And sometimes I talk to Devaya, Truti, my dear friends, and I sometimes just chuckle saying, I feel like sometimes a lot of these people whose life is so aspirational to me, I think they find my life aspirational to some degree. ये बंदा daily creative काम कर रहा है, इसको तो इसका job तो मजेदार ही लग रहा है मेरे को यार. So that's when I come back to Devaya and I'm like, Dev, I fucking love what we do. It's so fun. Please never leave me. मेरे को daily उठ के brief देखना है, problem solve करना है, मजा आता है इसे करने के लिए. Imagine getting paid for this shit. I would do it for free.
True, man. It's very true.
Well, Asim Dhruv was a recent guest. I don't know whether you guys follow him. He's the founder of SBFC. There are 5 metrics. Let me see if I can remember them. Power, wealth, fame, skill, and looks.
Power, wealth,
Fame, skill, and looks. At different time in your life, you are trying to maximize 1 or 2 of these.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And you will never have all 5 on 5. Very few people have all 5 on 5. If you have 4, you look at people who have 4 and don't have looks, then they're like kind of really going after, just making sure that they're more physically attractive. You see a bunch of people who have a lot of power, looks, skill, but don't have wealth, they'll kind of go in that direction. So I think human beings you're right, they're solving for boredom, but they're actually solving for optimizing on
either
5
of these factors.
One of these 5, which they don't have.
We are 30 seconds away from saying desire is suffering.
No, but I think coming to
Desire is suffering.
No, for content, I think it's very important that you made that point that everyone thinks it's easy to do, but it's not. It's very clear from this that it is really hard, especially because it's soft science. And it's a science, but it's not something you can put clearly in
It's
your
both
finger.
art and science. We focus too much on the art,
But it's a science, right?
and it requires years of hard work in the
I think the
I
clear-
agree with that point very strongly. That we focus too much on the art and less on the science, which is why the optics is ये कोई भी कर सकता है, ये तो बकवास.
It's like X plus Y equals to cupcake. Like it makes no
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like everyone thinks running a bar is easy. Why? Because everyone drinks.
Right.
So मैं दारू पीता हूँ तो मेरे को लगता है बार चला. But the economics of a bar is so difficult, or a restaurant is so difficult. So just because you're a consumer doesn't mean that you can be a good creator, is my view, right?
Do we think it's like how important is luck? Like for example, in a sport, you would say like mostly like if you are Virat Kohli, you're probably the best cricketer or one of the best, and you've reached. But like is in the creative
only the foolish would not give luck any credit.
Yeah.
Right place, right time. Just
But I would also say that the 10 years of hard work increases your surface area of luck. So chances that luck will happen to you are much higher if you're walking on a certain path consistently for 10 years. So you enable it
100%
also. But 100%, yeah, matlab there is like the more you know you don't know.
Like
The people at the top are the best people at the top I've met are more and more humble because they realized कि कितना कुछ गलत हो सकता था और कितना कुछ मेरे साथ सही हुआ और कितने मेरे साथ के peers से जिनके साथ नहीं हुआ who fell by the wayside एक करके.
Who worked equally hard.
So, for example, there is an amazing video on YouTube, and we'll probably show it. It shows people criticize Ronaldo. I don't know how many of you watch football, but people criticize Ronaldo for being a poacher, finisher, and a stat gatherer. You're just tapping it into the net, especially the latter half of his career. So you're just gathering stats, and you're not really a great goal scorer. And they actually showed the number of times Ronaldo is making like crazy runs into the box and not getting the ball.
Right.
Like in a game, he must be doing this 20-25 times, and then the one time he does it, it looks easy. But if you don't make those runs, you'll never be lucky enough to make that one time. So I think idea is showing up and this consistent.
Surface area of luck is a nice phrase, actually.
I love that idea.
It is.
Yeah. I think what else increases, like hard work increases surface area of luck.
Showing up.
I think, showing up.
Consistency.
Long-term thinking.
Yeah.
Relationships.
And basically pick one area and then move in those circles. Consistently talk to those people, consistently be around the movers and shakers in that, not from a networking point of view, right? Like just be in that ecosystem for a long period of time and luck will happen to you also, because as we said, game recognizes game.
Game recognizes
right? And no matter how high up people are in a field, again, because they've gotten there through hard work, I found that they actually recognize कि ये लड़का fight मार रहा है. Right? Like over a period of time, then you will have, Tanmay give you time. कि यार मैं
People help those who help themselves. Like, this is simple.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I think if you are able to show up enough number of times over, and that's the same skill for a founder or like someone building a creator business, showing up over and over again, chin up, and high on confidence and high on patience. I think at some point the world will start waving you forward. I think it's just a matter of riding the wave. But if you're not there when the wave is there, then you're not there. The idea. But I think I love the idea of starting in a smaller market. I think that's again a parallel with entrepreneurship. Start in a place where you feel like the niche is there.
Supply is low, bro. It's
Supply
actually a
is
smarter
Like what you did, for example, is such a beautiful space because it's relevant for everyone, but the content supply was very sharp when you started. And now
very
it's
few
scaled.
creators who are into farming.
I'm so confused.
Food farmer.
But yeah, I think that's that. And then I think converting it into service businesses because it creates the fuel for running content over and over again. I think people lose steam a lot in this space, a lot if they don't make enough, if they don't get enough small wins, no? या तो धंधा नहीं चल रहा है या फिर small wins नहीं आ रहे, people give up a lot. I've noticed.
But what if someone has a more mainstream, like suppose someone wants to become a comedy creator, they don't want to be a real estate or saloon or like, HR person. They want to be a comedy creator, which is probably the most biggest stuff. So what
Highest supply also.
So what is the play? Is there any playbook for that?
Has comedy overtaken theatre in Book My Show by the way now? Movies?
No.
Yeah.
It's not overtaken.
Theatre,
Number of comedy show tickets
Versus movie tickets?
Yeah, no. Movie tickets is
Oh,
higher.
movie. I thought you said
Like
you're talking
live
about
performance.
No, that hasn't.
Yeah. No.
I thought comedy would have overtaken movie tickets by now. But sorry,
But it's the second highest.
Actually, the way I would this thing is the skill of being interesting to look at. The skill. Actually, the way I would put it is the skill of being interesting, right? Like comedy is actually the skill of being interesting for as long as possible. It's the ability to stimulate constantly. That I think is the medium of communication. Okay, like I remember asking myself, a few years ago, where I was like, I am an urban kid who had these interests, and I got into comedy because of blah 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 reasons. And now every weekend there is a YouTube video coming out from someone who's far more appealing to a wider audience, who has experiences in life that they can turn into comedy for a lot more people, who are quite frankly just 10x funnier than me, right? What is authentic about me, right? What is my curiosity? How can I be comedy plus X, right? So I just realized that, comedy is a medium. Let's take Sharan, for example, right? Sharan's actually a comedy creator, bro. He just happens to talk about finance also. Otherwise, he makes sketches. Why do you think he popped? It's because I think comedy is a medium. And I think a lot of people underestimate how multidimensional they are. Right? Like I remember speaking to Kumar Varun, right? KV during the pandemic was like, he was coming on my panel, etc., on my videos. I didn't realize that KV is quizzer. I said, bro, you should just this is just such a unique combination. This doesn't exist, and you have the network. We'll all participate. It'll work out great. So I think most people are multidimensional to some degree. They just need to do the combination of X plus Y. Interesting तो तुमको होना ही है.
It's a great.
Samay was so good at chess streaming. I remember.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Phenomenal, right? Like, so there are many examples like this. Like Sahiba is also actually, it's just the
Very
mix
multiple.
is so interesting, right? She's a performer who has an interest in why
Marketing.
some performances work, why this travels. Like this mix is interesting, and once the mix starts playing into action, there's almost like, what's the word for network effects? Like my comedy world bleeds into my startup business advertising world, and
spillover.
vice versa.
No, the flywheel starts turning.
The flywheel
flywheel
starts
starts
churning,
turning,
right?
yes.
Which is
सारी कायनात मिलके.
no, you let randomness happen to you a lot more.
I think that's why unidimensionality and focus are sometimes confused. I think in this case, multidimensionality leads to focus, because you then suddenly realize that it's a combination of these three things at work, and then kind of you can then press
I
down on
also
it.
think when people are watching something, they are watching something that they think but never say. And I think that is universal and constant across all content. For example, let's take reaction videos. We see those memes, we have seen these things, we are thinking about them, we're not saying it. So seeing someone else becoming more human and actually saying it. it's like-
Relatability?
yeah, so it's relatability. For example, if I sometimes talk politics, but everyone's thinking it, nobody's saying it. For
Yeah.
example, what you do, everyone knows. Like I said, I met you, and that's the first thing I said. Like, I do this, but nobody talks about it. So brands becoming more human, and creators taking the human thinking and actually showing it to the world that, yeah, you're right.
I think
There's some quote, right, that brands are trying to become like human and humans are trying to become like brands.
Brands,
Yeah. Yeah.
वो तो that's another philosophical debate कि brands होते ही क्या है मतलब it's a human invention, right? It's not a discovery, it's not a metal that we found in ground. Like
Yeah.
हमने बनाया brand as a concept. But I agree, again a parallel in the business world, right? Like all great creation in the business world lies at the confluence of two fields. Like what did Apple do? Design and
I
technology.
love your
and
one-liners,
confluence.
by the
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
You
so
write your
good.
one-liners.
So good.
Thank you.
Which is also the confluence of being an expressive person and business person. You know what I'm saying? Right?
बेटा तो आप no seriously, right? And same, and effectively even building a business is creation, right? Like
Yeah.
we keep talking of creators and businessmen differently. हम भी बना ही रहे हैं भाई, मतलब there is a creation happening here also, and all creation happens at the intersection of two seemingly disjointed things,
Skills, yeah.
which if they come together in an interesting way, like fuck.
So
Either
creators are also essentially entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs are also creators.
Yeah.
Of course. Freshness is two random neurons connecting. Actually.
Wow, तूने भी
भाई सब लोग बोलेंगे Sahiba, your turn.
Freshness is nothing but two random neurons
Connecting, yeah.
connecting. That's basically it, which is what they call the aha moment, which is that, oh, one pattern I knew, I spotted it in another place. This is a similar pattern. This is why analogies are great.
Yeah.
People love analogies. People are like,
But,
oh,
yeah.
this is like this.
But that's the thing. Most people don't see this pre-facto. Most people realize this in hindsight and think it's so obvious. But pre-facto, it's very, very hard to see.
Which is
And
the
that's what
skill.
makes great creators.
Which is the skill.
This is what I'm saying. Everyone
Don't
thinks
say
it, nobody says
Say
it.
this
So
game.
comedy works so well is they have the guts and the balls to say everything that we might think, but we'll never.
But in an interesting way,
Yeah.
not
But
just guts and
again, the
balls.
medium is comedy.
मैं गाने गा के भी बता सकता हूँ, मैं डांस करके भी बता सकता हूँ. Like, there are many ways in which I can do comedy.
Correct.
Actually, एकदम ही deep जाना है तो actually,
Singularity.
Desire is suffering.
like truth seeking leads to pattern matching.
Shut up now. Let's
Pattern matching leads to insights.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is the flow chart actually.
I can do another
Truth
3
seeking is
hours.
real.
No, this is like a stats class.
अरे बकचोदी करनी है तो कर ही सकते हो.
But you know, it's very hard to do. Like I think the essence of any of this is that it's really hard. It's really hard. It's and the stuff that is really hard but seems easy is actually extremely deceptive, and that's where a lot of people kind of like will struggle. So I think I know we don't have a lot of time, but you know,
आज creatively razor बेचना है कि नहीं?
हाँ
आज
नहीं करना ही है ना, तो रेजरप्रेन्योर पे आए हो तो I think we keep the
परफॉर्मेंस
element
वाला
the
देख रहा है
same.
भाई, मत चला भाई.
हाँ मैंने बहुत नहीं चला
मेरे मुंह पे कुछ है भी नहीं.
So इसमें क्या है? This is still for us. This is the medium. This is the medium for disseminating education. Like last time we did disseminated education through on sales, through the Sensi Smart 3. This is our 99 rupee razor that we think will break open the market for multiple reasons. And last time we got people to learn sales by selling this.
Yeah.
Right? And we really, like, the top 10 razorpreneurs came into the BarberShop. We kind of discussed them. They met the global chief operating officer of Reckitt. And a lot of them, like 3 of them have started their own businesses and kind of gone on to raise money and all of that, right? This time we wanted to make the same tool a tool for content creation. Like, how do you learn best in class content creation? This conversation that the 5 of us have had is a great starting point. Because if I want to build content as a business, or if I'm a business person and I want to make content an engine in my company, how to do it? And we're going to say India ka smartest creator con, which is whatever your audience is, whatever your business is, whatever your audience is, try to make great content for this, for your audiences, for your...
But is the ultimate perspective of that creator to try to sell this?
Is can you make something that monetizes your business through this? Is the
Wait, can you
build content
yeah,
that monetizes whatever you're doing, whether it's a business or it's a content channel?
right, using this. Interesting.
Is the challenge.
Okay.
So how would you, for example, use this in a way that will create money for you and engagement for your audiences both? Which is a very different answer for Revant versus you versus Tanmay versus Shashank.
Right,
for example,
right.
So we're looking at, you spoke about nano influencers or people who have like 10, 15, 20,000 followers, sizable enough to work with brands. But how do they do this in a way that they can learn working with the brand, for example?
Okay.
क्या मैं सुन नहीं रहा था, मैं कुछ random ही रहा था.
आप अगर धंधा चला रहे हो या फिर आप content creator हो, how will you be how can you show your smartness as a creator by using this as the medium?
I started jotting ideas for somewhere. Okay, so I would start an Instagram page, short video page, or and YouTube.
As in
Called-
brand or as
No,
brand?
as individual. Okay, as individual. Okay.
As Tanmay or as a regular individual?
No, as regular individual.
Okay.
Random idea. It might not be useful. I started a page called Hair Wolf.
Okay.
Okay, like where? I call it Hair Wolf. Okay. I call it Hair Wolf.
Okay.
मैं सबसे पहले book कर दूँगा, ठीक है? Then I would go on all the top beauty grooming channels. Okay, go to top videos. Okay, make a list of the top 10 videos on these YouTube channels. This will give me an idea of, make a list of the top 10 videos. उसके अंदर what are all the hair related videos? Be it shaving, length of hair, designing, removal, whatever. There's 5 or 6 this thing. Okay, so this will give me an idea of what do people actually, what are the titles that people already want? Okay, then I'll start making videos about all things hair on this page. Okay, and I would optimize for these 3 or 4 metrics.
What are the metrics?
One, I'll tell you. One is content that culminates at the end to increase AVD, okay, average view duration. Okay. Second, the question I would ask is, when I post this video, जो share button होता है ना, उसको मैं उस पे number में increase कैसे करूँ? For example, people share in 2 ways. They share to friend or colleague or any other person who shares a similar identity to you, or people share to their profile. People share to their profile to build their own brand. Okay, so then I would ask myself, saying, which one of these two would be most likely with this subject? Okay, so for example, why would people share to their profile? People share to their profile to build their own brand. Okay, so if I made this thing saying, bald men are actually hotter. Let me explain why. Okay,
I'll share it.
Shantanu is brand.
For sure.
There you go, right? Or if I start the video by saying that,
Is it true balding?
whatever.
ये लो, ये आपके लिए ये अलग है.
For
It's becoming
example,
hot.
or if I start the video by saying, here's why using cream to remove hair is better than using razor, for example, right? So you know that in the net of people who watch this, there'll be some who believe neither opinion is, it doesn't matter if it's true or no. Okay, you just know that there's a TAM for both.
Yeah.
Right? Both of these would make that share number go up.
Go up.
Okay, so I would optimize for what is it that people are going to say when they put on my profile, or what is that they say when they share with friends. Then I would just output 10 videos, see which one perform best, and just double down on it. You will start making money once you hit a decent amount of money. Shantanu will message you for sponsorship. Okay, you can start making money. Yeah, if you just want to be like, my passion is hair, and I just want to optimize on all things there, this is where I would start. Eventually, there's a salon that's ready.
But hair wolf is really cool. But that's what you would do if you had well done.
Random idea.
I think this is because for you, I think 0 to 1, 1 to 10 content journeys are almost very instinctive.
0 to 1 is more fun. 1 to 10 is where like 1 to 10 is where like you sit with the same comments and react to the memes every week. People start saying innovate nahi kar raha hai, etc. etc. etc.
But very interesting. Sahiba, how would you do it?
I would probably involve cricket in this.
How?
इंडिया की जो जनता है वो अपने हेयर स्टाइल्स किससे कॉपी कर रहे हैं? Beard.
Interesting. Interesting.
That will be a video in this.
Yeah.
Which
That's a
one?
great-
I'm rating the cricketers with the sexiest hairstyle.
So
Wait till you find out who's number one.
Yeah. So something like that, because mass India, all the men are replicating haircuts and hairstyles of cricketers or your biggest Bollywood stars. So now because of the access to these stars and access of these cricketers, I'll get them on my show.
That's incredible. So you're
And on
basically
the
saying
show,
Shantanu is replicating Amish Puri.
amazing. And the thing is, their haircuts cost upwards of 50,000. Your mass janta can't afford that.
Yeah.
So we will talk about their haircut, how they got it. They will probably do it on a dummy person, and that entire conversation will be fun because I love hosting and they're amazing with me.
that's incredible. So you're basically saying your cricket anchoring plus cricket is a large content market. Anything you do in cricket,
It will get the views.
Engagement is very high.
Everyone, the insight is everyone's copying their styles.
But how
Nobody
do you as
can
an average guy
afford
get a
Hakim.
cricketer? Like, you're talking about the brand getting a cricketer or?
No, me, Sahiba. This is Sahiba's point.
Okay.
she does IPL.
Okay, got it. You are. I thought you were talking about a random individual.
Her starting point is different, but that's great because you're using a starting point. Which
Bro,
is
I would go to Hakim Alim and underwrite all his costs to start a podcast. Just ask him to just talk to people while he's cutting their hair. All the celebrities are showing
That's
up.
the real BarberShop.
Real Baba.
Just underwrite all his costs, cut him into get his skin in the game.
Yeah.
Because like Dhoni is going to get every single famous person is going to get a haircut.
Everyone from
Every single person.
Fuck,
And
that'll
no
be
one's done
spectacular.
conversation while cutting hair.
And India wants a haircut, but they can't afford it.
Yeah.
So this
Oh,
entire
yeah,
IP
yeah.
will be based on
Very
this.
good.
Good idea.
Great idea.
Yeah, kar do.
Revant, what about you? For health minister, Revant for health minister. But how would you, for example, if you were to say that this is what you need, like we did something really interesting with her. Revant read the label of this and kind of fully dissected, scanned the QR code, asked the 10 questions, asterisk health and etc. I think that's a great way
So
to
for
work
me,
with
it would be exactly that. If I was integrating this
Palm
and
oil है कि नहीं इसके अंदर?
shaving में actually होता है ना cream में shaving cream में palm oil I think कुछ ना कुछ
There is some hydrogen, but that's required.
I'm not saying. So anyway, so I would do exactly like, literally for my content, it would just be reading the label in detail, trying to see aloe vera में aloe vera है या नहीं, उसमें actually कोई benefit है या नहीं, Bombay Shaving Company क्यों है जब वो गुड़गांव में based है, so things like that. For me, it would just be doing the most brutally honest and stressing on the word brutal review of this and trying to focus on both the positives and the negatives.
Yes.
So the authenticity would come from the negatives as well. That you're giving the full picture. I think the problem with most marketing is it just shows one side of the story. The moment you speak about the other side, it automatically resonates with the.
Yeah.
So that's why the best car salesmen are those who say 5 good things about the car, but also 1 bad thing about the car. So I would just review this brutally honestly.
Love it.
Amazing.
I'll also do one thing. I'll do an old age. पहले मैं ऐसी थी, अब मैं ऐसी दिखती हूँ. So I'll do पहले मैं ऐसी दिखती थी, अब मैं ऐसी दिखती हूँ. Shaving.
That is actually the original transition reel.
Yeah, that is. First, second.
Nice. But Shashank, what about you? Like I know you come in with a very business first view to this, but if you could advise creators on being RAZORPRENEUR 2.0 winners. Because their starting point are very different. Like
there is always like I was saying in the beginning कि जैसे कोई कुछ बेचने आता है, there is always a point of tension. मैं ये समझो मैं वीडियो बना रहा हूँ और मैं ये लेके खड़ा हूँ कि आज मैं आपको ये बेचूंगा. The first question in your head is कि क्यों भाई तेरे को क्या पता है शेविंग के बारे में? So I would just address the tension that शांतनु मेरा दोस्त है, उसने मेरे को बोला है बेचने के लिए, ठीक है? I trust him. That's why I'm taking this on. Yeah. But अब अगले 30 दिन come with me on the journey. Right? I'll show you कि इससे क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं हो रहा है एक्सेट्रा. उसके एंड में अच्छा लगा तो बोलूंगा, नहीं तो नहीं बोलूंगा. बट I'll address the tension up front कि I have no right. मैंने जिंदगी भर एक ही रेजर यूज करा है, तो I have no right to tell you कि ये अच्छा है कि बुरा है. But I trust the man who's making it. Yeah, and hence it passes the first level test.
ट्रायल तो कर लूंगा.
हाँ, ट्राई तो मैं करूँगा and जो होएगा मैं आपको बता दूँगा. That's
Amazing.
I would also like to do something a little wholesome. Comedy se le liya, yahan se le liya. Something wholesome is where you get celebrities of very popular father-son duos and get the father to talk about the son's first shave and their puberty and growing up and the dad shaving him and still teaching the aisa kar. Like I'm
एकदम ही
thinking,
embarrass करता है.
like I'm thinking Tiger and Jackie Shroff. Like that video would be so cute
Yeah.
and wholesome.
That
Yeah.
is true.
दाढ़ी का
मैं उसको बोला दाढ़ी को बड़ा चौकंडी. So good.
There are a lot of Tiger Shroff दाढ़ी related memes, I think, also that would work
I
well.
mean,
I
he's
think.
completely clean, so I mean that
Yeah.
should be the hero product for
Oh,
him.
for sure, for sure.
किसी
Yeah,
की
I
आती
think-
नहीं है.
I think shaving is something people do every day. It's also like something you
लोगों
learn
की
from your
जाती
dad.
है.
हाँ, लोगों की आती है. That's what the thing. So that would work actually really well.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
Jackie Shroff and Tiger Shroff.
Listen, you should think about it. That'll be a very cute video.
नहीं बढ़िया है.
एक बाल अच्छे हैं कैंपेन भी बनाते हैं.
दाग अच्छे हैं.
हिम्मत करो जी.
नहीं, for us, I think we are now moving into hair removal, where we celebrate hair where you want them and remove hair where you don't want them.
November में कंपनी क्या करती है?
यार हम लोग typically we see क्या होता है ना उसमें, it's very cancer awareness and so on. It's a very deeper thing, and we always felt like if we don't fully address the deeper reason for November, we don't have much of a right to leverage it for our commercial gain.
Fair.
We stayed away from it, but this time I think the team is working on something
Yeah.
far deeper, where we kind of
है क्या बड़ा movement है क्या November?
November for
No, everyone at least
cancer
talks
awareness
about it,
amongst
even
them.
though they don't believe in it or don't know the deeper meaning. It's like that. What was that
Ice bucket challenge.
Ice bucket challenge. Everyone was doing it for the clout. Nobody was actually doing it for the.
So November is for prostate cancer awareness amongst men. It started in Australia where you show a mustache and it creates awareness about
Yeah.
it. But I think
Now it's just going to looks. I feel. Thoda.
which is fine. It's also not a bad thing, but I think the core message gets lost. So
Yeah.
if we can't associate meaningfully, then we want to like we'll do it well when we do it. But guys, this has been such a pleasure. Any final thoughts before we kind of go back into our own echo chambers of content?
अगले साल दोबारा आएंगे बेचने.
नहीं यार, I think the I learned at least 5 things today which I did not know before, having actually spent 2.5
Tanmay
years
wrote
in
10
the
pages. I don't know what he was
हाँ, मेरे को
scribbling.
जानने के लिए लिखा क्या है ये?
Tanmay has
वो भी साहिबा देवनागरी में.
I know. I'm so
वो
happy.
meaning of life तक.
But do you
Design
carry
is
these
something.
notes back and like kind of make something out of it?
No way.
He had
I'm
too much
mad
energy.
like X plus Y equals to cupcake लिखा है.
No,
I think
fun discussion.
Shashank's this thing one-liners,
Yeah.
surface area of luck,
वो लिखना चाहिए था यार. One-liner. वो लेके जाती मैं घर.
confluence of
हमने अभी वो वाली करनी है ना conversation.
शशांक और मेरी Twitter feed बहुत similar है समझ गया.
No, the conversation was great because we got a brand POV, we got a content POV, we got general distribution and what works, what's not. So cute, guys. Sweet.
Mizar, all the best for RAZORPRENEUR 2.0. करो यार धूमधाम करके अप्लाई करो.
बेचो यार.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Pleasure.